Hello and welcome to ESL Challenger League Season 47. I, of course, am Wolfie, and as always, joining me to bring you the best of the action this evening is Dean. How you doing tonight, mate?
Yeah, doing good. Looking forward to what should be a pretty interesting game. I mean, initially I was thinking, yeah, probably eyeballers looking kind of clear favorites in terms of me knowing who everyone is. Although form-wise, both teams seem to be at a somewhat similar level, and at the moment, eyeballers are off in a different game where they aren't having the most success. So I think it puts a lot of question marks on this game we've got coming.
It's an intriguing one, isn't it? Obviously, for those who don't know, we're in the low side of things now, which we will have coming up on a bracket just in a second for you guys. So we're getting into the relegation spots, and neither of these teams had, let's put it this way, a particularly successful regular season, right? PERA winning just the one game, Eyeballers managing to win a couple here and there, managing to take Koi down as well, which is a big scalp for them to be taking, but never really finding the consistency. Neither of these rosters really posting any kind of trouble towards the mid or the high. But we can take a look at those groups now, and it's resulted them being in what is a fairly sketchy situation. Both of these teams have managed to avoid the direct relegation to advance, so they are still in with a shout. But as you can see there in the lower bracket, round three, the loser is still going through to relegations. There's still two more rounds to play if these teams want to guarantee their continued presence in ECL, which, as we know, for organisations at this level, has to be a top priority.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be the main source of attention, I want to say, because it's that league where everyone sees you. They say, oh, okay, this is a team that's coming up that might eventually make it to Pro League, and even if you don't, it keeps your presence, and I would say probably gives you the opportunity to go play a lot of other similar smaller leagues as well below it. So it's where you want to be if you're a team that's grinding to try and be among the best. And well, as you said, there's some teams that aren't going to continue on with that today. They're going to be sent down to that relegation where they'll be left fighting against some teams from those lower leagues who sometimes can be a lot hungrier as well, and a lot of the time are much more I don't know, I would say kind of solid in terms of having been together a lot longer because they've been fighting for that goal of making it here to the Challenger League.
Yeah, we do see that a lot. And talking, of course, of being against the best, right? We're talking about a PERA roster who did make a bit of a cameo in Pro League Season 19, right? Who looked solid, took down a admittedly misfiring NIP, but it is still NIP at the end of the day. It's the same logo, the same name, no matter who they're putting out as their five. And taking a map off Big, a map off FlyQuest as well, they looked competent. They looked like a team who could do some damage. They've clearly got some very talented individuals, but it's a little bit of a surprise, if I'm being honest, to see them coming down as low as they are. They're obviously making changes to try and address it. We've seen roster changes since Pro League. We've seen Bubble, as of about 45 minutes ago, being pulled into a coaching capacity. So they clearly are a team who are chopping and changing things and looking to make the difference and keep themselves alive and, well, go for another shot at Pro League, right?
Yeah, and Bubble is one of those players that has a lot of knowledge. Played alongside obviously the likes of Dreamer and Spy Leader for a long time. Is kind of like back in the day anyway, the three main Bulgarian players that everyone knew. So they always were one to keep an eye on. As you can see here, these are the matches that are going on today. So we've actually got that match in the upper part of that lower bracket as well with System 5 and Team Space. That matchup right there is actually to see who will stay in ECL. So the loser of that gets knocked down, I believe, to the lower part here, where they'll still have another chance to, of course, move on and stay in ECL. But the winner immediately will go ahead and claim that spot and be able to breathe just a little bit.
Yeah, and of course that is over on the B stream, so ESL CSB, if you want to be catching up with that one, Affinity and Veerless bringing you the best of the action. But we're going to start to focus in now, start to really have a think about this Eyeballs PERA matchup, because this is where it is. This is where we decide who goes to relegation, who has to go through all of that palaver to keep their spot, and who has the chance to come up against the loser of System 5 v Team Space, right? And for both of these teams, there's a lot of parallels in their current stories, but there's also a lot of deviations, right? They met in very early stages of this low group, and Eyeballers made a mess of them. A clean 2-0, a 13-6, 13-8 across two maps. Made it look very, very simple, very, very easy, which is very much against the grain of what we've seen from these two rosters recently, right? PERA have clearly been on an upward trajectory, a lot of recent wins, and as I said, scrapping at Pro League, really making a name for themselves. Some big names coming out, DJL having a massive series, and then obviously the new kid on the block, Corey, coming off the back of that Rare Atom project, which had a lot of success in the Asian region to replace their fifth, compared to Eyeballers, which, as we were discussing a little bit before we went live with this, right, they have got a lot of potential in some of these youngsters. We've seen Heat, we've seen Pepsor, we've seen Sapek. We know what they can do, but this roster was conceived 2 years ago with the idea of producing Swedish talent, of being that pipeline, of being arguably the sprout of Sweden, if you want to go there. And they've not quite got the formula right yet. They've got the individuals, they've got the pieces, but they don't seem to be producing the talent in the way some other orgs have managed to do.
Yeah, and it's not like Sweden doesn't have the potential for a lot of talent. It's one of those countries where there's so many young people that are still playing the game that could potentially be nurtured. I do believe I've just heard that we have the Vios ready, which is going to be an interesting one here between these two. I think there's kind of the obvious two insta bans, but then after that it could really go anywhere, especially with the fact that Corey's only been with them for 6 maps and they have a new coach as well. So you can see here on the screen Inferno and then Nuke being insta banned. Yeah, that's as expected. And pick wise, then it's going to be, as I said, a little bit less predictable. I actually have my mic thing there in the way of I couldn't see the video itself. It's going to be Anubis for that first pick from PERA.
Oh, that makes me nervous. That makes me real nervous. They picked a Mirage last time they came out, which is their sort of standard first pick. It's the one they lean towards. They have been integrating a little bit of Anubis, but it's not been as frequent. When they last played, which was only a month ago, only 4 weeks-ish, ballpark ago, they did go for that Mirage pick, and they got beaten on it hard. 13-6 loss, as I mentioned earlier. So it stinks a little bit to me of we don't want to go down the same road we went down before. We've got to try something different. We've got to change the formula, right? So we're going to go for Anubis. And then in the same vein, the Overpass pick from Eyeballers kind of sucks in my eyes because it's a map that as soon as we get to playoffs is gone, right? It's not a map we're going to be seeing anymore. So it kind of comes out as, I've heard people talking about it as the Joker pick, right? It's the pick that you know your opposition aren't pracking anymore because it's disappearing out the back of the map pool. So you're just hoping that your latent knowledge of how to play it, which in the case of Eyeballers, 17 maps in the last 3 months to the 3 of PERA, is probably very, very much the case. That latent knowledge will carry you through. So it's a bit of a stinky veto, if I'm being honest. I don't particularly like where either of the teams taken it. Ancient as a decider feels fun, feels like there's a bit of potential there, but those first 2 maps, you can just see what's going to come out already. It's going to be a very, very scrappy first one. Eyeballers have got a lot more experience on Anubis even than PERA, so it's going to be a tough first. Then we're going to a map that doesn't exist in the map pool anymore. We've really got to get to that third map for it to start being good.
Yeah, I mean, I do think it could be still kind of interesting. Anubis, PERA had a couple of good results, obviously, on it, where they took a big and NIP. That was before, I believe, bringing in Corey, though, so there is that small caveat that's going to be there, of course. Now they brought in Bubble. How much time have they had to prac? Have they changed up things a lot? Has Bubble been working with them maybe a few days and they've started working on some things? Could there be some wild cards, I suppose, being tossed out in this game? There's just so many different question marks, I suppose, that we're going to have to deal with coming in. But I think VO-wise, it's not the worst way it could have went. As you said, I do think the Overpass pick is a little bit cheeky, but it makes sense because PERA really aren't all that great there. They've got 3 games on it in the past few months, and at that, not a very successful 3 games. The one win they got was versus a Belarusian team called Bedere, who, I mean, looks like they had some decent players, but I don't even think they're a team anymore. So kind of tells you what you need to know there.
Yeah, it's a bit of gamesmanship, isn't it? I think that's the polite way of putting it for Eyeballers. The map is there. It is possible to pick it and play it. Just because it doesn't exist in the map pool anymore and we know it's phasing out doesn't mean you can't still try and get the sort of last few reps, the last few bits.
You could pretend they just love the map and they just really want the last official on Overpass.
You could say that in theory, but I think there's a little bit more to it than that. But look, I think it's time to start talking about where we think this one's going, right? We've got Eyeballers, we've got PERA. One of these teams is relegated, one of them's keeping their shot at ECL straight through this season. What are you thinking, Dean? Where is this one going? 3 maps, 2 maps, who's taking it?
I think map pool wise, I'm going to lean over towards Eyeballers. I think they have the better chance of potentially even getting it done within the 2. Of course, as we were saying, Anubis is a pretty good map for them. PERA chose into it. Eyeballers are pretty good. If they can steal that away, I think they'll be set up perfectly for the 2-0 on Overpass. But I'm not counting out PERA by any means. I think they're in better form currently. And again, we don't know exactly what to expect from them with that recent addition of Corey and now a new coach in there who could potentially be helping them out quite a lot. So
yeah, you've taken my points right out of my mouth. I think sometimes you just got to trust your gut and you got to trust the form of the individuals, right? PERA have got a lot of firepower. They've got a lot of individuals who are very, very capable of taking over a server. Bibu, DJL, bringing in Corey as well, adding another dimension to it. The map pool, I will say, has rattled me a bit. I don't like where it's gone. I think there is definitely opportunities for the upset for eyeballers, but just on form alone, I mean, we were talking about they were literally playing a matchup right before this one, and it's a clean 2-0 loss. It's not looked good for them. They've not looked in the best of spirits recently. And I think sometimes that's all you need. You go into an Anubis, very puggy, very individual heavy map. You get a nice flying start on that. If you're PERA, you take the pressure straight onto the eyeballers overpass, force them T-side overpass. Anything can happen, right? How many times do we see a team start T-side overpass and just completely crumble and have absolutely nothing to give by the time they get to CT because they've just been completely battered through the entire first half?
Yeah, it can happen. It does seem like Overpass is one of those maps where that tends to happen a little bit more often. You feel like you can get just completely blocked out, especially if you're against a team that handles that early aggression well and then falls back and just has you forced into a very timid play style. There's always very little time to work with. It is one of those maps, unfortunately. But yeah, I think I agree with you that this could go either way. You've got one team in better current form, but then another team that statistically looks like they have the much better maps to play on. So I think this is just one of those games we're going to have to sit back and wait and see how it plays out.
And sit back, wait and see. We will. We are going to throw it to a very, very brief break, guys, while we do get the server set up, while we get everything configured and ready to go. But when we come back, we are going to have map 1, we are going to have Anubis, and we will be deciding who gets that shot at ESL Challenger League season 48. It will be by then.
Yeah. Damn.
One of the prettiest maps in the pool, Anubis, and it is where we will start our evening. PERA up against Eyeballs over on the CT side to start things off. It's a tough place to be. Eyeballers looking to put them there, of course, as this is the map pick of PERA, and some early aggression from PERA as well, but it's been red. Passive presence, Bibu scrapping in mid, just trying to stay alive, do anything he can to stop the advance. Everyone is low, but the kills still just about trading in favour of PERA. TJL on 17 HP with a wizardly headshot onto JW. And for Heap, well, he was outside B earlier, now he's really picking up the scraps.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm seeing the effects of Eyeballers coming off the back of a loss here, with how kind of timid they ended up going once they got that initial clash here on mid. They could have kept on pushing through if they forced the issue, got up in the faces of those players before the extra rotation came in. They might have came out with equal trades. I don't want to give up on Heap, though. The P250 full health and now only 2 opponents. There definitely is still a chance to fight for this. Plenty of time on the clock, of course, with a minute. He did it earlier on, I believe, Spot Corey having pushed up through that A bomb site as well, so he's aware of this player. At least is being cautious. Indeed, he runs out of bullets, though. That's a problem as he gets spammed down to 49. Just about makes it to the bomb site, though, and should be able to get this extra money for them at the very least. It's going to be a rough one, though, as he has to hop off the bomb, and Poria deals with it, denying the bomb plant, denying any further kills, and ensuring that it is going to be PERA who take home that pistol round with a great initial setup in towards middle. But as I said, Eyeballers, they've looked a little bit afraid. I don't think they have all the confidence right now.
I mean, that was just a brawl, wasn't it? I think that's the very simple story of it. It was a straight fight in mid, and the confidence just wasn't there. Eyeballers just not quite connecting their shots. You'd back the Glocks in that scenario up close and personal.
If they kept holding W, I would have, but they just decided to stand still mostly, which is the issue. Keep on taking those mid-range fights against the USP, trying to stutter step the battles.
And of course, without that bomb plant, second round force, not really a viable option for the T side. So just the one P250, again in the hands of Heap. The rest of his team, it's a friend Chico. Talking about your strats for the next round, hoping that maybe there's a bit of over-aggression, someone pushes a little too far, gets a little too keen and gives themselves up. Porio with a laboured spray into the canals, not really finding too much of anything. And Aaron now, he's starting to smell a rat here. Nice little Molotov, of course. Molotov's not extinguished by water in CS, so Bibu, well, nicks Aaron's kills a little bit, but it's a couple more for the MP9. A nice little money farm. And yeah, PERA dealing with this one exactly how you'd expect them to.
Maybe it's a river of gasoline?
Maybe? Doesn't look like it.
Set out of water. Unfortunately, didn't help him out. Not too bad. One kill in the end comes in with that Glock. Only $300 investment on Heap for that P250, so they basically just made their money back elsewhere. Now they're going to have the AK as a decent amount of utility to back it up, and there's still some weaker weapons in play for PERA as well. And it's not quite a complete bonus round because they would still be short a couple weapons and such if they were forced to buy into this next one. So it's a crucial round here. PERA have a chance to potentially get that 3-0 if they take this, then start building up their economy. If Eyeballers can get this initial gun round, they're right into it and likely tie up the scoreline even. So this is a very important round on both sides, and the question is, are we seeing anything from PERA early on with those weaker weapons? It doesn't look like anything special is going to be thrown into play. They'll slow it down, they'll wait and see what Eyeballers have for them.
Yeah, you'd call it a bonus round, but they invested pretty heavily into the rifles coming into the previous, so there's not that much, although Aaron is making that MP9 sing like an M4 through the smoke, takes the head off JW, and that's a lovely little pick to get to open things up. Mid control now heavily contested, and it's forcing Eyeballers to start reconsidering plans. Presence taken in towards the canals, looking to press A main and just draw any kind of a rotation down. Nothing too forthcoming though. CT side well set.
Oh, Aaron down to 5 now as he gets spammed up again through the smoke. He hasn't seen anyone yet this round, has he? But he's got a kill and he's been tagged up by 2 different players. A little bit unfortunate, and also perhaps fortunate on his part. Either way, just stay alive at this point. They don't exactly know they've done that damage, and time is beginning to somewhat run down, so Eyeballers are going to be forced to make their decision, and seems like they're leaning towards that B-bomb site currently, without the bomb in their possession though, so I believe Heap is going back. Right, they've got Golden creeping in through mid, and they just about miss each other. Bibu is not aware of the fact that Golden's crept into the back lines here. That could be a problem. The MP9 finds contact. It's Aaron though on low health. Can he do anything? Yes, he actually gets the headshot. Golden falls. And that might have been their opportunity to get into the site that's just been snatched away from them as they are torn apart by the M4s on the bomb site. That's going to be a third round for PERA, and a very crucial one that they're able to take cleanly and start building the economy now. As you said, it was kind of a bonus round, but they didn't actually have the money to make that happen, so it was a must-win.
I mean, Eyeballers walked into the stack, 3-man B setup, but they had the flank. They had the play, and somehow Aaron, on all of 5 HP, manages to grab himself yet another kill with the MP9. So running and spamming and just connecting a magical bullet into the head to get his kill, and pretty much, I'm going to say it, single-handedly secures that round, because if Aaron goes down, as much as you're walking into a stack, you've now got 3 separate points of contact, right? And it becomes an absolute nightmare for the CT side to try and flick between these angles and get an idea of what's going on. Instead, as Aaron gets his kill, it becomes patently obvious what's happening. Fine, there's a backstab through Temple. It's got to be a B play. There's not enough time for anything else. One of us watches Temple, one of us watches the E-box swing, or connector swing, depending on what you want to call it. And it's very easy then to just shut down and get a clean round out of it. Again, denying the bomb plant for Eyeballers. So again, as you look down the economy, you're thinking half buy, couple of upgraded pistols, maybe something a little quicker to try and catch PERA off guard. But 3 rounds to the good. Nice little bit of economy building up. This is already starting to look like a fantastic CT side for PERA.
Yeah, I mean, they've already forced Eyeballers to call in a pause here so early on, probably remembering how that previous best of 3 they just had played out. We were keeping our eyes on it, of course, on HLTV, wondering if we were ever going to get to start this one. But yeah, it's never fun coming immediately and off the back of a loss. Obviously, they had their few minutes break that they wanted in between, but still, it's going to be in their memory, especially with a poor start like this, with only pistols and Kevlar for now available to try and remedy the situation. Corey getting forced back. Thankfully, the Molly does a ton of damage. It's the headshot as well with him. As we said, he is the new addition to the lineup. He showcased some skillful play early on. It's not like we haven't seen him before. I've definitely covered a few games before. As DGL forced the issue there out towards B main as well. Only 2 players left to clean up. There shouldn't be too much trouble. A kill or 2 would be nice for Eyeballers, but will it happen is the question. Okay. It does. Corey tries to back up his teammate and gets domed. I believe he got dinked maybe through the wall initially. It sounded like it. Second kill, not going to happen. Golden was waiting for hoping to take one more with him to the grave, but that's instead going to be a second round, I believe, in a row where PERA are able to keep 4 players standing. I think it was Corey who died both times, right?
Yeah, and it's clean. Again, right? No bomb plant, not conceding much of anything. Not even using that much util, if we're honest. If you pair a couple of flashbangs out to B main, couple of mollies to cut off angles, but they're keeping their economy in a fantastic position. DJL, well, the death has actually benefited him. He's gone straight for the AWP, drops his rifle across to make the full complement, and for Eyeballers, you're 4-0 down. This is your second real shot, shall we say, with the rifles to try and make something happen. And it's much the same as the previous, except a little swifter into mid this time. JW determined not to be killed through a smoke. Instead, absolutely tanks the grenades, and Aaron is quicker on the draw as he swings into the angle. Once again, this time no smoke required to get the better of his opposition, and once again, an early 4v5 to Eyeballers to try and work out how do you get back into this. Smoked off most of your angles, map control extremely limited. Again, only really got A main, which PERA have been more than happy to concede because they rotate the mid player in through Con, and now they've got a 3-man stack on B and a lovely little A setup.
Yeah, again, Eyeballers just left early on the back foot. No real openings being found. I don't think they've been able to get anything of note really about what way this defense is currently being played out. Like the setup they have on mid as well, they've just fallen back to play things a bit more passively because they really don't have any utility left on that CT side. They used it all very early on.
Yeah, they do like to dump the nades, but it gets them a kill more often than not, right? So far they've dumped them, they've got their 5v4, and then they've settled into this setup, which at the moment does look like it's going to be tested over towards A. Poria mollied off mid, opted instead to rotate round, and it's going to be up to BB with Aaron in tow here. First kill goes against him, and now Aaron in a world of pain, does well to get one, tries the transfer, can't find it. Poria there to back him up, however, and that drops the bomb in an awful position with 8 seconds left. Poria gets himself the kill. Sapek, well, yes, he's got the bomb, but he's flanked out from just about everywhere. A 5th on the board for PERA, and they are flying on the CT side of Anubis. Can't seem to put a foot wrong.
Yeah, just add a T in there, and then you've got PERA for flying. Close enough. what was it, Aaron and Bibu who died this time? The way they're dying is just keeping their money as equal pretty much as it can be as well. Corey is kind of flying ahead, but it was Corey, I think, who died a couple times. And then, as you said, because they were able to drop him an AK and Deagle bought the op, they were able to keep things pretty smooth in that sense. So there's no real damage being done at all, even with the amount of investment that they put in. I mean, the other round they went pistol and Kevlar, weren't able to get anything done with it. Obviously, the buy round doesn't really find any success either, or a couple of kills, not even a bomb plant to back it up. So again, back on the pistols and Kevlar, allowing PERA to likely basically reach that halfway point without any sort of a challenge so far. So it's a scary position. Even if Overpass up next should fare better for eyeballers, you do need to see something being showcased here. Oh, the big ass crosser.
Lovely addition. Stops you having to make up those mad keybinds to get it, but
I wasn't sure if we'd meant to see it though.
Oh, PERA just look confident, man. They're just swinging into peaks at the moment. You saw DJL in mid, DGL, Deagle, whatever you want to call it,
Yeah,
swinging into the Deagle. I've been toying between a few, to be honest. I'll probably pronounce it about half a dozen different ways before the end of this, but
Dougal.
Either way, he hits his shot, and then they're just swinging into things. They know it's pistols, and PERA, I mean, this is the kind of round where if you're playing against a team who are confident, they can punish you, and they will hit headshots, and they will start to really make you think about, okay, we need to slow down, we need to use the util more conservatively, we need to be flashing ourselves into angles, but eyeballers just aren't hitting those shots right now, and PERA are perfectly happy to go, thank you very much, I'm just going to swing, I'm feeling confident. I mean, Poria's 8-0 at the moment, absolutely flying. Let's wait until you start really punishing me, and then we'll change how we want to play, because right now, we don't need to.
Yeah, they're playing things fairly standardly. As you said, a couple of rounds, and especially when they know it's going to be a crucial gun round, they've gone kind of all out. They've had a plan in mind, used their nades to try and achieve an early pick, but then they just fall back and play things calmly and wait and see what eyeballers throw at them, because so far it's been nothing that special. Peps are on 4 kills. Other than that, though, no one really leaving a notable mark in terms of frags, which is obviously going to be a big issue. We do need the players to start coming alive. Now it seems like eyeballers again just on the fairly standard split to try and work these picks on the default, and it's just not working out. DGL will go at this time, manages again the opening kill onto Sapik, who unfortunately has yet to even welcome himself to the scoreboard. Smoked and naded away there as well, isn't able to work that pick towards A as he had hoped. He'll find some success. Okay, where was that? In towards the B bomb site, I believe, through the smoke actually.
Yeah, he's just caught the temple player. It's a nice pick, though. Levels things out, and you can see the adjustment now from the CT side. They know they've got to make something happen here. Can't just play that passive hold towards sites that they've been looking for previously. Deagle in towards mid, nearly hits the timing on the shot. He's got a couple of players in towards the connector here. And Bibu, well, he manages to trade the death of Aaron, but keeps his team in it just about. 3-on-3, T-side incredibly spread out here. Heap's going to have a little bit of a poke over towards B, and this is a complete timing on this fight. Heap has managed to get to jail. Starting to call his teammates across, calling perhaps that this B-bomb site is wide open for the taking, which we know to be false. Deagle and Corey here, it's just a question of how long they can hold their nerve as the bomb is now making its way noisily across. Surely that's been heard. Smoke comes out. PERA well placed to receive this one. HE pops the smoke. Golden just a shoulder visible as he looks to cross and get that plant down. Will be able to do so. First time we've really had an after-plant situation for the eyeballers, and it's a clean 3-on-3. Site control established. Deagle and Corey looking to work their way in. Initial kill goes the way of Golden, but it's quickly traded down. Question is, how much more can this CT side get? They've got a kit, no smoke for the bomb, 1 Molotov and 1 flashbang to try and clear one of these angles, but Heap beautifully placed with Pepsor holding the other angle. They'll work their way into the site, but T's given them nothing so far, and as soon as they do, they catch the Eagle transitioning between weapons. Smoke picked up by Bibu, looking for the desperation defuse, can't quite find it, and it's going to have to be the save. First round on the board for eyeballers, and desperately needed as well.
Is he safe? I think so.
Yeah, the Anubis bomb radius is tiny.
I wasn't sure, to be honest. It's been a while since I've actually played a game on Anubis, if I'm being honest. Not when I throw in the map pool most of the time if I'm just queuing up a quick matchmaking. And then there's Nuke, which is just so unforgiving. Doesn't let you away with anything. I suppose with a name like that, though, it does make sense. Eyeballers, though, finally able to get themselves into the game. Their feet are, I wouldn't say firmly on the ground, but if they can chain together a couple of rounds here, you will see PERA's economy finally begin to dwindle. But I mean, yeah, as I said, a couple more gun rounds in a row is not going to be an easy task with how difficult it's been here so far. That wasn't an easy round by any means either. It was one they had to scrap for.
Oh,
Deagle
not a
wants to go
contact.
aggressive.
Not a contact.
Even if he gets
Deagle
the
should
first,
have
there
it.
should be the trade. Never mind. I thought the player up close was going to be ready for that one, but they have the nades in return to toss through. A little bit of damage exchanged on both sides. Sapik tries to force the issue through the smoke back towards the connector area, and that does not work out. Corey shuts them down, and suddenly it's a 5-on-3 where Eyeballers just cannot afford to let this round slip away without a challenge. Do you maybe even consider a save at some point here?
Oh, that's ugly.
1-by-1 through smoke is what they're doing right now.
Yeah, just try and... I think there's a couple of moments there where someone feels they've got a timing right. Sapek through connector first up. JW trying to time the edge of a smoke, but it's just not happening for the Eyeballers at the moment. A couple of ugly fights go the way of PERA regardless, and now Aaron, well, he will be finished off, but teammates are in tow and should be a relatively clean trade out. Bibu makes a bit of a meal of it at first, but very quickly recovers to get the job done. 7 CT rounds on Anubis on the board for PERA, and that, well, to my eyes, is absolutely terrifying for the Eyeballers.
Yeah, it really was worst case scenario, just to get a single round and immediately just get dumped back down into another half by here with, sure enough, a couple of rifles. Should be another Galil in play. 2 more Galils, actually. So, yeah, they've got the weapons at the very least across the board. But even when they had all the AKs and when they had a lot more utility than this, they were still struggling. So we need to see something special come out now. And we need to see the players start to come alive. There's still no one who's really standing out, I would say, individually. Okay, the trades actually managed to go in favor of Eyeballers early on. DGL is just not able to land that shot. It isn't working out. Peps are not going to be getting the follow-up either. Although he had to worry about the flank coming through from A, so there was that in the back of his mind, maybe as a slight distraction. He stays alive, which is the most important thing, because they have that man advantage, as we mentioned already. A 4-on-3 for Eyeballers to try and work with.
Nice timing on the double peak, but neither are quite able to hit their shots. Everybody whiffing in this one. Even Deagle can't find the connection, so it will remain a 4v3 for now. Problem is, as you said, there is so much map control to play with for Eyeballers, although at the moment they are walking right into the belly of the beast. 3 players towards Con, and they're going to go through with the Molotov. This time Deagle does find the connection. There's more where that came from, but this is the stack site, and they're walking into this AWP one at a time. 2 quick kills for Deagle in succession, and now Peps are left to try and recover a dying situation, a 1-for-1. Well, it's put Heap in the situation to clutch up. Corey on low HP makes this one feel at least viable. But they're keeping the pressure up. Heap knows he's got to try and isolate one of these early 1v1s. Starts playing around the smokes. Bomb in the middle of sight. CT should know there's something cheeky going on, and Bibu is very aware, alive to the threat, finds himself the conversion, and those are the kind of rounds that Eyeballers, as they take the timeout, I think they have to, just can't afford to be losing, right? They have the man advantage. They've scrapped their way into Canal's control. And then they go and take Connector 1-by-1, swinging into an AWP. And Deagle, well, as much as he's missed the early shots, all credit to him. When he gets the opportunity in consistent 1v1s, he just keeps on banging them through.
Yeah, that was a weird one. Arguably, he hit the 2 more difficult shots in towards Connector there compared to the, I don't know, like 4 or 5 that weren't landed in the moments before when he was taking the longer range fights. Hepser also was having a real struggle. He seems to have decided to restart his game, maybe. So, 'cause there was just... I thought he landed the one when there was like half of the shoulder coming around just before he got flanked from A, but somehow he didn't. I do believe we're going to go ahead and swap it over onto the cameras here now in a second, just while we get that whatever issue Pepser's dealing with fixed and allow him to get reconnected, of course. So bear with us for a moment. Hopefully this won't be too long. But yeah, I mean, the scoreline is looking pretty desperate at this point, we've got to say, for Eyeballers.
Yeah. And we are starting to get to that point, right, as we do get back into the action, which I talked about, of momentum carrying through to that second map, despite what the statistics may tell you. PERA 8-1 up, CT side Anubis. Both of these teams are T-sided on this map. It is a T-sided map, full stop. And Eyeballers just don't seem to be able to get it to click at the moment. Back down on those Deagles once again. This time, Deagle on the CT side has rotated that AWP out towards the A-bomb site, just trying to mix up where it's seen, where it's visible. He gets his early kill. Poria fancies a little bit of action himself, clean through the smoke, tags up Heap as well. I'm not sure he heard it, but the shot won't connect regardless from that lone Deagle. Just desperately, there we go, trying to find some connection, some damage. And, well, with that frag going against them, Corey is suddenly a very isolated man inside this B-bomb site. Holds up well for one. Will have to concede the bomb plant, which is about as good as it's got in these half-buy scenarios, realistically, for the eyeballers. Bibu, though, very quickly there to start tipping the scales back in the CT favour. And Golden, well, he's a vet. He's been there. He's done that. He's seen it all. Can he see a world where he pulls off what would be a incredibly miraculous 4v1? Through the smoke, finds a connection onto Bibu early, but low HP. He'll just retreat out, lets Corey get the spam kill. Bomb is defused. It's a nice little moneymaker, but we're 9-1 down. We needed that moneymaker 3-4 rounds in, not with just, well, 2 left in the half.
Yeah, I mean, you always need money if you want to try and fight, but it's getting a little bit too late to put up a strong half at this point, unfortunately. I'll be desperately trying to salvage these last couple of rounds and see if they can then start off on that CT side with a strong pistol round, perhaps to then start building a comeback. One round at a time. It's a long road ahead of them, but yeah, it's got to be perfect pretty much from this point forward. JW's having a very rough game, which isn't ideal when you've got the upper on the opposing side, really putting in numbers. As the shot doesn't land there against Corey, who took a bit of a wide and crazy beacon towards Connector. Gets away with a lot. PERA have been getting away with a lot in general throughout this game. Damage.
So
one health
close.
actually for Golden. It's going to be an opening kill either way. That goes the way of eyeballers, but look at the health on 2 of the players here. Not ideal. JW also slightly tagged up, so I don't know if they're going to want to immediately move off the back of this man advantage. As you can see, they just want to slow it down and keep PERA guessing.
At least they've got it. The damage done had me concerned this one was going to fall by the wayside again, but Sapek brawling in towards the connector has managed to find at least a kill to the good. And it's forcing some adjustment out of PERA. Peek into mid is wayward, not spotting anything out at all. And Aaron, oh, he's going to play a timing here. Sat in the fading smoke. There is a lot of presence, aware of the possibility. JW first up. AWP in hand, nade sails on by, and Aaron is just biding his time here. JW, as the last man to hold, is not really what you want. That AWP needs to be in a slightly better position, and now Aaron on this flank. The timing is everything. 2 CT players inside of the site. How much can Aaron get before they get in? JW goes down for free, but Sapek has managed to find one of the site players. Buys a little bit of time for his team as that CT molly now traps these Ts inside of the site, and it's just a goose hunt at the moment, picking them off of and Aaron, leaving Heap and the 1 HP Sapek, but it's Heap with a clean headshot to throw Aaron into a 1v2. His position now known as well. This should surely be a second round the way of the eyeballers. Aaron, no idea of Sapek's position on 1 HP. It'll be an easy trade for one, but he can't quite find the spray down. Heap the hero, a triple kill to buy eyeballers a second round, and they desperately needed that one, Dean.
Yeah, gives them, as we said, some hope to try and salvage this final round and just maybe have some confidence before they go into that second half pistol round where they really need to start this comeback. There's no chance to really build any momentum in what remains of this half, of course. The economy obviously is not an issue for PERA, as you would expect with how successful this half has been. They've got everything they need right now. Molly's thrown down over towards B to stop the early aggression, but well, it's still just going to be Poria who stands his ground true to Molotov rather and takes the fight, and with success from the off elsewhere as well. Things are not looking good for eyeballers, but they just forced the issue straight into that B bomb site, realizing they couldn't afford to sit around in a 3-on-5, and it's given them control, it's given them a bomb plant and a chance to potentially convert this final round at the half.
Oh, Pepsor, you sneaky boy. Clean through, there's a huge timing, and oh no, surely not. No. Pepsor gets away with it. Will be traded out by Deagle as a result, and Aaron, well, he was on the flank before. It's expected again. This time, Heap can't be the man to get it done. Sapek to try and find the conversion. 1v2, good spray down to connect the first, and he knows Deagle is on that AWP. It's pistol out, it's spam time, as he's desperately trying to find his man. Low time on this bomb, it's going to be mighty close, but I think PERA have just about stolen it. 10-2, a dominant CT side as we head to the halftime break. Tough day at the office so far for the Eyeballers. 10-2 down, admittedly on their opposition's map pick. But it's not great. It's not a good look. CT side dominance from PERA. A very scrappy affair, I think it's safe to say. Nothing particularly clean about it. Both teams struggling around the edges, but both... Well, not really both, if I'm honest. PERA able to wrestle control of it, find some of that individual brilliance, the likes of Aaron, Bibu, Deagle, with those big kills on the AWP as well, really getting the job done. And for the Eyeballers, a lot of missed shots is what you've got to say, right? Round the edges, the Deagle rounds didn't really find any connection. JW had some opportunities on the AWP that were let by, and several man advantage situations swung against them to put them in what is a fairly terrible position at the back end of this first map.
Apologies, my hay fever has my eyes watering terribly right now. But yeah, I mean, that was just crazy. There was a few rounds that could have went the way of Eyeballers, but as you were saying, just so many shots being missed. Most of the rounds, it was PERA just taking an early man advantage and then just playing it safely from there on out, successfully taking trades, and a lot of the time even doing so with it pretty cleanly, as we had seen, considering the economy had managed to build up to such a ridiculous point. So yeah, it needs to be a whole different Eyeballers really that we see now going into this second half. They need this pistol round, ideally convincingly as well, to get themselves a bit of confidence moving forward.
What's the idea here?
Looks like they're expecting maybe to push on either mid or B, and then hoping if they do spot it that they can just commish straight to A. And that might have falsely sold that they're that one player peeking out through B. I don't think it's pushed the issue too much though.
Golden's in a good spot. Julies, we've seen do a lot of work from these sort of positions. Early util goes out. It's going to be disrespected by JW, who flies through that smoke. And, well, PERA don't really seem particularly keen on committing behind it, to be perfectly honest. Golden takes an early dink. And these 3A main players, they don't really want this scrap. They are quite happy just to hold off, having got that initial contact, knowing perhaps that the util has drawn a huge rotation, and Pepsor just seemed to have no idea that there wasn't any cover in towards mid. A free kill goes up. Heap on the second pair of Julies, now looking to work his way into mid, but his teammates are being dinked up left, right, and centre. JW does very well on low HP, and Golden as well, both dinked up, both finding kills, and it's the Julies of Golden. Two swift headshots that turn this round on its head. PERA looking for the recovery. Does find a very swift headshot to start things off, and with two players dinked, this CT side have still got to be mighty cautious. Heap, the only one with health, looking for an early swing on those Julies, as PERA is desperate to take contact here, but with bomb in A main, CTs really have nothing to do here except just wait. Just let PERA get a bit too keen, push an angle he shouldn't do, and then look for the punishment. Here it is. He's looking for the swing in, and Heap is having none of it. The Julies fire off. Huge kills from JW and Golden on desperately low HP, and that is just the start. Eyeballs required.
Yeah, success from the dual Berettas. They're always a very fun gun to watch. They just never work like that for me, unfortunately.
It's always the way, man. You watch them, you go, oh yeah, that's how they should be used, and then you try and pull it out in a pug, and you just whiff all 5 shots.
No. Two of them hit the feet. Somehow. I'm aiming at their head, but hitting their feet. I don't really bother by them too much. They've never been my weapon. The wild spam, though, if you play a map like Inferno, I think, is where I would maybe pull them out. Other than that, though, I think I'm more happy going for those taps on the head that feel incredibly satisfying. Deep smoke.
Nothing satisfying about this round.
No.
Pair of full Glocks, bar the P250.
Through the smoke, maybe?
Yeah, it's got to be. And then Prey. Here it comes. JW not particularly blind. Falling gets his second. Safek there to back his man up. Through the smoke. Takes a dink, but trades a lot of damage. Golden gets the one on Bibu. And yeah, that's how that round goes, right? You got 4 Glocks and a P250. It's a bit of a miracle play for that flash through the smoke. Doesn't work out. Whatever. Shrug it off. Now we got the rifles. Let's see what we're really made of.
How long have we had wings on the kill feed for when someone gets a kill in midair?
Oh, Dean, you're not watching patch notice. You're not up for it, man. You got to keep an eye on things.
I haven't been.
All these shiny new toys.
I can't launch CS right now. It won't let me. It just gets stuck on the opening screen, and I've reinstalled it and everything. I don't know what is going on. Apparently, upgrading to Windows 11 will fix it for me, but I don't want Windows 11, so I'll keep working on it.
Right, back to the round. Back to actual CS and not your PC technical issues. DGL has taken a ton of molly damage to start this one off. AW will be mollied as well. Trades a decent amount of HP. T-side just looking to prod and poke this B-site a little bit to start things off. And the CTs look like they want a re-aggression here. But Aaron, oh, that is dirty. Through the smoke finds Sapek and Poria very ready for the aggression of Golden off the back of it. 2 quick kills going against this CT side and piling the pressure on as now that B site is the target of their aggressions. Heap jumping back and forth, continuing to be tagged. And, well, it is a bit of a stack here for the CTs. JW and Heap both inside of this B bomb site, but even with a stack, they're significantly outnumbered here. Aaron with the bomb out towards Jail. The wall of smokes is up, and there's a game of timings here. I think the mid player has been spotted by Bibu as well, so this one becomes surely an impossible task. There it is, very aware. The flank is taken down. Well, Heap and JW, it's a laboured spray from Poria, but he still gets his man. Smooth as you like. All 5 players still up for PERA, and it's an 11th round on the board as they look to shut out their map picks swiftly.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. If they weren't already both so committed there, the final 2 players, I would have said saving probably would have been the way to go. They might have been able to have scraped together something. Instead now, it's a very limited buy, and of course if Eyeballers, PERA take this round rather they're on 12 already, so Eyeballers have to force the issue at that point with an even worse buy, I'd imagine. So it is not looking good for Eyeballers. This is pretty much their last chance to keep themselves alive here on Anubis and try and put themselves in a good position moving forward onto Overpass. We're sure PERA don't have a lot of experience, but if they're coming off the back of a win like this, then they are definitely still going to be a big threat.
Already presence established in towards Connector, and the flash just not quite right. Nothing working at the moment for Eyeball as the protocols are just a couple of centimeters off perfection. And Golden, well, he's doing what he can, and he's bought time for the flank in. JW dropping down from mid, manages to nail himself a double. Just what the doctor ordered. PERA left picking up the pieces. Aaron and Bibu, they thought they had full site control. They thought they had their way into B, not to be. As the flank comes through. And for Bibu and Aaron, I mean, damage here is good, right? They've got a decent little bit of economy to back them up. If they can take a couple more rifles away before the death of things, that could be really detrimental long-term for the CT side. Molotov goes in to try and clear out mid, but nothing really doing there. And off the back of that JW flank, you can see PERA are very, very conscious that they've given up pretty much the entirety of the map. Very slow in their clearance, going all the way through T-spawn. And that is not leaving them with a lot of time to really try and conjure something together in this round. 30 seconds left. If they want to go towards a bomb site, they're going to have to absolutely book it. With full canal control, yeah, they're just going to concede this one. JW, the hero of the hour, keeping Eyeballers in it, keeping them swinging. And with 4 rifles saved across to the next, they may not be done just yet.
Oh, at least bringing the weapons forward. As you said, it was a strong setup they had here, ensuring no one was coming back through T-spawn towards B without being spotted, or towards A rather, and obviously they had a heavy presence towards B, so saving I think was a decent enough choice. Obviously they don't get the loss bonus then, but they've got what they've got here already with the full Kevlar, bit of utility. Everyone else has the money they need just about to buy, so with a drop from Aaron, it still works out pretty well for them. 11-5 scoreline, so Eyeballers are keeping themselves in play for now, but they've still a ways to go before we truly start believing in this comeback, because a mistake or two could cost them everything at this point.
How many times can they rely on the hero flank from JW? How many times can somebody step up to the plate? And the Molotov, just to try and get an idea of the presence in towards Connector, and it isolates a 1v1. Heap wanted the support. Molly doesn't allow it. Goes for the swing regardless, gets punished for it, and exchanges of damage through the smoke. Aaron and JW both tagging each other up. Just reminding each other that they're there. Aaron has tended to get the better of those exchanges in towards middle, so nice to see damage going back the other way for a change. Problem is, man down, decisions to be made for the Eyeballers, and that decision at the moment is a heavy-handed B stack.
Golden I have a challenge here alongside Sapik against Corey, who probably won't be expecting them to be still doubled up. Heavy presence back towards B, although they are beginning to rotate, I believe. JW away, is it? Yeah, JW who's leaving, just as PERA are, of course, beginning to group up here towards B main to go ahead and push this. As I said, though, it's only Corey who'll move in through connector, so he'll likely go for the later push after the attention may have been taken away. Never mind, he wants to take that initial peek, gets shut down by Golden. Well, with that now, they've only got one avenue of attack to actually focus on, as the push isn't really getting a chance to come true. They're being delayed.
They got no util.
By the nades. Yeah, there's a couple.
They got nothing to stop this. Bibu does very well to get one, but there it is. Spam through the smoke from JW. A clean double kill. Got swings on out, gets himself the double to follow up, and that is exactly what they needed. PERA just stalling a little bit on that here. You were exactly right. They just sort of got stuck. Corey feel like he needed to make a play, right? Like he needed to be the second prong of the attack without the utility locking off E-Box. And that just brought a horrible little timing. Really nothing the T-side player could do as he swung into a two-man. And from there, well, you've put a wall of smokes up, sure, but you've got to isolate those fights, and it's just not happening for them. So PERA have to take the half-buy down to the pistols. Something for eyeballers to write home about.
Yeah, I don't think that play should have been made by Corey until someone coming through main had found contact either close to the right when you come in through the entrance or in towards connector itself, so that he had the chance to find the backup first. But I guess with the time being solo, as you said, it felt like maybe he needed to make that play happen so his teammates could then start moving in through B main rather than the other way around. Unfortunately, it didn't pay off, and well, in this round, no eyeballers aren't having too much trouble with only pistols to oppose them. Aaron does flank through the smoke, though, perhaps to steal a weapon away, maybe even two, as he goes for that player in the distance. He'd done it the right way in theory, but I think he might have been better off just taking the close kill, just to confirm that one, because the B250 can be a little bit dodgy sometimes.
Yeah, like there. Oh, that's a heartbreaker. You can see how he's planning it. Oh, yeah, I'll nail the headshot on the first guy. Quick transfer, get the close player. 2 kills, gun in hand. I'll fly down the A-bomb site. There's a plant there, and suddenly everything is looking up for me. I've got the round. I'm going to clutch up for my team, get us 12, job done. And while he's thinking all of that, he whiffs the first shot, and they spin round again.
The whole round had already played out in his head.
Exactly. You could see it. You could see the thought process. It's just not to be. And this is starting to get a little nervy now for PERA. They are going to start twitching in their seats a little bit. 11-7.
Yeah.
They take the pause, yeah. They start to really think about this one and try and work out what they can do, because they know they've had this one in the bag for a while. They just need to push it, that final little shove to get over the line. They won't want to let eyeballers get a sniff back in, because we were talking about at the end of the first half, right? And momentum into Overpass, a map that PERA don't play a lot, a map that's not in the pool anymore. They would have wanted to have flown into that, and instead, they're sort of stuttering now. The Eagle looking to be the man to open things up, a cheeky boost in towards mid to take the contact, and the timing just isn't quite right for him. JW, well, he'll eat the nade, so he takes some damage regardless, but Deagle would have liked to have been in the right angle at the right time. Felt like a gimme of a kill, but just not quite coming through. And off the back of it, we will see PERA go for a hard reset.
Yeah, there's still good damage at the very least in their favour, even if they aren't quite aware of how much is being done. Aaron and Corey took a small bit in return as well. Either way, things are being played out pretty slow here in the early stages. Eyeballers aren't forcing the issue because they know, of course, if they end up losing a round, things could very quickly spiral out. At the best, they're playing for an overtime. PERA, on the other hand, are waiting for that mistake to be made. DGL over towards B will have a couple players potentially coming into his vision. It's going to be Golden who gets dropped. Eep drops the molly to ensure that they're not going to be able to actually commit off the back of that, but that's not the plan anyway, as we can see. Over towards A main is where the main contact is going to come through. A nade in return, at the very least, alongside that trade, does keep them in a decent enough position here, with Sapik slowing down that A push and ensuring that for now, at least, they aren't going to lose the bomb site. But there's only 30 seconds remaining, which means they really need to get a move on.
This is going to be really sketchy. The timing on Sapek's push could be everything. He was toying with going through A main and really started to punish through the smoke. Instead, he's bailed out and they've gone for the A site stack, while PERA have flown towards a wide open B bomb site, the smallest of margins. But it is going to be punished here. And the CT side have got a huge decision to make. DGL gets the first pick. Heap goes down. 2-on-4, JW on 43 HP. Do you even want to give this a go? Your economy will sustain another buy if it goes wrong, but it goes wrong spectacularly. Deagle with the initial pick into that B bomb site just completely disassembles the round. You could see the idea, and the initial stop from Eyeballers was good, but off the back of it, they completely misread the situation, completely evacuate the B site. And surely they must have known. Deagle's got an early pick. He's lurking around here somewhere. He's probably hearing all of this information and calls his teammates into a wide open site.
Five rounds in a row for Eyeballers to keep themselves alive in this one. It's not where they wanted to be. Looked like the comeback was starting to look plausible. Oh, didn't quite land that. Not sure if the hitbox was a little bit off on the hand itself maybe there, or of course maybe moved as he took the shot. Either way, damage escaped in the early stages of this round. It's just a lot of utility being exchanged by both sides currently.
That's a demo review right there, isn't it? Trying to work out where that shot landed.
Maybe he hit the nade in the hand, technically. That wouldn't be part of the hitbox, right?
Maybe. As you said, though, a lot of util being exchanged in these early moments. Eyeballers desperate for a scrap. Nothing really been given to them yet, though. Now, PERA will start to work their way up mid. The flash is in for Sapek. He gets a ton of damage, but he splits it between two players. He's got a kill and a half there, but nothing quite connects. So instead, it's Heap. Looking to be the hero of the hour. He gets a freebie. Corey completely unaware. Canal's push just completely catching PERA off guard. Pot flash to try and get a swing into it, but with the fading smokes, it's a lovely timing. An awkward fight for Bibu. He just about wrestles the spray back into his control, but there's 33 seconds left on the clock here, and PERA are not set to hit any site just yet, so they drop. They know they've got to be quick about this. Aaron does very well to get the kill. They want to wait for the push back in, but they haven't really got time. Aaron bails his bomb planter out, and with 17 seconds left, they've got to get that bomb onto site now. Molotov off the default angle. JW, he's in the 1v3, but the clock is very much his friend right now. Deagle, what are you doing? Swinging wide, bomb in the arms of JW. He bails out. Aaron will just about get this plant down. A 1v2 for the vet. He swings and the timing isn't there. 13-7. And PERA, well, they very nearly made a meal of that, but they just about get it over the line.
Yeah, I mean, almost went a little bit awkward, you got to say there at the end, but they do manage to get it across the finish line. But now they've got to move on towards Overpass, where with how shaky things had begun to get as that map progressed, I'm not as certain anymore that 2-0 is there for them. I do think we could still very well be looking at a 3-map series here.
Yeah, there definitely was, right? I mean, we spoke about it at the end of the first half. Everything had gone PERA's way, but there was shakiness, right? There was some missed shots, some missed opportunities. It wasn't as clean as you'd like it to be. And that came back to bite them as we got into that second half. Plain and simple, the T side, they struggled to get their conversions. They lost a couple of advantageous situations. And then even those rounds towards the end that they were skimming, they were running very, very low on the clock. A couple of big calls made to, at the last moment, redirect the attack and put it in a different direction. Both times going late towards that B bomb site, just about skimming it through. But at the end of the day, I think the individuals did show up a little bit more for PERA, right? We saw a little bit more of that individual magic, the shots just hitting a little cleaner. And as we head to Overpass, if we're going to force the Eyeballers to start T-side, if they're not going to hit their shots, they're going to be punished. But, of course, to get to Overpass, we have got to get through the break, folks. So we are going to throw it away, and we'll be back very, very shortly with Map 2. Well, despite some match day nerves, it was fairly simple at the end of the day for PERA on map 1, getting it done without too many issues. And as we head to Overpass, I think the ball is, should we say, firmly in the eyeballers' court, right? We know they can beat PERA on this map. They've done it within the last month. It's their map pick. They didn't really show up at times on Anubis, so it's time to really see what they've got in their pocket.
Yeah, they did start to find their footing as it went on. Some of the players started to come alive. Obviously, they were really struggling with Sapik, not even able to get a kill for quite a while, and all the other players were stuck on 1 or 2, with only really Pepser having a few moments, and even then, those were kind of inconsequential within that first half. Only as the second half came through that they really start to show a little bit of something, and hopefully they'll be able to do that now moving on towards Overpass as well. But their last couple of games there haven't been the most successful. They lost out to Betboom and Guild Eagles, which are 2 teams, I won't lie, I'm not super familiar with. Actually, Guild Eagles are, of course, what they used to be called, I'm forgetting now. Yeah, so they've had so many different organizations, I forget what to call them half the time. But yeah, Rigon, Scenari, One, Flatro, Synopsy, and GXX. So that's a reasonable enough game, I would say, to lose right there, because that's a very solid lineup. Losing out then to Betboom as well, another team with a lot of familiar names on it. There's a few in there that I'm not quite as familiar with, but Nafany rather and Zorti are 2 very capable players. But even then, those games were at this point nearly 3 weeks ago, so I'm not sure if it's maybe just because of the fact that obviously it's not a map they're going to have to play in the future that they're kind of avoiding it at the moment, or if it's one that maybe those last couple of losses kind of threw them off of.
Yeah, I think honestly, when you look at the numbers, they're losing to good teams, right? It's clearly a map they're comfortable on. They play it a hell of a lot, as you said, now starting to really phase it out with the fact that it's not in the map pool. I think probably part of the reason you're seeing them phase it out is a lot of tournaments have stopped using it at all now. Like, this is sort of the last legacy tournament before we go to playoffs where Overpass is still an option that still exists. And obviously for eyeballers, it has been a bit of a home away from home. I mean, it's a map which, well, Swedes have had their dramas on, right? Olaf Boost, but it's a map they're very comfortable on. It's a map they know how to play, and it suits their playstyle down to the ground. A lot of Swedish teams, they like their methodical CS, and Overpass really is sort of, especially within the current pool. I mean, other than Nuke, it's really the epitome of like that organized, methodical CS. It rewards you for playing in that playstyle, and it punishes the Anubis, right? It punishes the Mad Peaks, the Puggy, the going for a swing out of nowhere and trying to just see what happens. So there definitely is a lot of opportunity for them. And I think based on the stats, based on the numbers, we should see them getting it over the line. The concern is that as much as they did form that mini comeback on Anubis, how much is it going to take them to fall back to sort of that first half where the wheels came off, nothing was connecting, nobody was hitting their shots, everything was going wrong, left, right, and center. If you see that again, and you've got to imagine PERA will force them to the T side of Overpass, which is, again, the harder side to start on. It's a side where we see teams fairly frequently getting 3-4 rounds of being happy with it. So if the wheels come off again, I mean, what kind of scoreline could we reasonably see, right? How bad is it going to get before it starts to form the recovery?
Yeah, I mean, as we know, pistol rounds are pretty volatile, so I think that's, as always, a necessity if they want to get off to a good start, especially, as you mentioned, with it likely being over on that T side. So we will see. We have just been notified we've only got about a minute or so to wait before we actually do get the pop-in game with the boys. So I guess with that now, I'm going to ask you, who do you think is actually going to take this? Do you think Eyeballers were able to get enough of their form back as that map went on to come true now and give us a 3-map series?
I knew you were going to ask, and I still don't want to answer because it's just not a map that's played anymore, and eyeballers don't play it. So there's no logic, there's no reason. It's just gut feeling, and my gut feeling is that PERA have got the momentum. My gut feeling is the individuals showed up way too much in map 1 to be competed with, and I just think it's going to take something special for eyeballers. I really do. I mean, JW, he was very slow in the first half. He did start to get into it a bit more in the second, but with how pivotal the AWP is and sort of the parallels we can draw between Deagle and JW across that first map, you do think if you're going to put those two AWPers head to head, back in the day, it would have been JW all day long. But now, right in this moment, I'm taking Deagle and I'm taking PERA.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I was thinking if they can maybe get the 5 rounds, maybe even 6 here on this T side, then I think they'll set themselves up for the CT, where maybe you can see JW if he finds form alongside maybe even a secondary op from Pepser that I think could carry them through. As we said, a lot more experience here for Eyeballers on the map of Overpass. PERA, though, they've got as some people say, the ball in their court at the moment. So let's see what they've got to show us in this pistol round, where they are looking to early on force the issue. Pretty standard for that peek in towards middle to try and achieve the early information. Corey, though, he's a second player pushed up on long. This isn't quite as common, but it is expected from eyeballers. They seem to have a bit of an idea as to the way this pistol round was going to be approached by PERA, but will it be enough is the question, because right now the USPs are making it incredibly costly. It's Aaron who finds 2 in towards middle and has completely shut down this approach, leaving only Golden and JW to try and pull off a small miracle here. Though with the damage on Poria and Aaron, it is doable. They just need to kind of compose themselves and work together on this one.
This is winnable. Just a couple of players dinked up. Some low HP bars to play with. An awkward fight as JW takes out Deagle. And now it gets really ugly. That's one of the high HP bodies hitting the ground. Bibu, the only man with anything really left to say in this one. And JW, well, he knows he's got another low HP bar. He's flicking between the burst fire. He wants it. He knows he just got to connect the spray. Golden now there to back him up. And Bibu, well, you're the only man with health left, and you're the only man hitting headshots. Both of them go down. That simply has got to be a trade, and it's not. PERA get their pistol.
If he dies, it's 1 health left on Aaron. He's on a flank at that point, which might work out for him, but it could also backfire if he had to slow it down and maybe just wait a second, or either way. You know, it's always dangerous when you try and shoot a player in the back of the head up long. So the 1 health definitely would have been a big risk in that 1 versus 1. So Bibu saves the day big time, confirms that pistol round for PERA. It's a perilous one, you got to say, but they do. They do manage to likely give themselves the early lead here, 2-0, based off the fact that it is a full eco for eyeballers. But I mean, 1 or 2 kills on this P250 and the Deagle that they've purchased up could make it worthwhile and give them a good chance to come alive in that initial gun round. And as I had said, aiming towards even 5 rounds here on this D side, I think could be enough for them.
It's a shame as well, because it was a nice idea in the pistol. I think they've clearly done their homework, eyeballers. They waited with 4 down the T stairs, hoping for that aggression, and then managed to isolate some fights. But just the individuals in the mid-round, those USPs firing off, getting the better. As now it's farming time for the MP9s. Poria gets himself an early one, makes it a double with a smart flash in from Corey. And yeah, this is, well, it's just what you expect at this point, isn't it? The MP9's farming up some good cash. The M4A1 will come in for a kill, but for Sapek, you've got a Glock. You're up against the meat machines over on the CT side, and I mean, even if you hit a smart dink, it's not going to matter any. All 5 players left up for PERA, so a little bit of a bonus round coming through, and some nice farming as well. Poria gets himself plenty of cash. Bibu and Deagle combining as well, just to bolster those bank accounts, as we will see eyeballers for the first time really try and put up some resistance.
And hopefully the T side here is going to be a bit stronger than what we got out of them on Anubis, where it really took them quite a while to come alive, and I think at one point we had an 8-1 scoreline, if I remember correctly. Got even perhaps a little bit worse from there on. They've got the rifles, they've got the basic utility, and they've got 4 MP9s to contend with, which means most likely PERA aren't going to be willing to sit back too passively. They're getting up in the faces, and Sapek, he loved pushing through the smokes back on Anubis, and so many times to the backfire, and once again it costs him his life, and it hands an AK over to Corey, who was a monster to deal with at points back on Anubis. So giving him an upgrade there onto the rifle is not a good thing to do so early on in this first gun round.
Techie as well, the run boost on the MP9 to get him past the Molotov. But now we've got the push in down Con. Aaron will trade his teammates' death 1 for 1, but you can see eyeballers should know now that the 2-man con play, there can't be that much A presence at all, but they're still so conscious of that con peak, so passive in their take of the connector. So the rotations will start to come through, shifting their way up. It's going to be Poria and Bibu on the 2 MP9s to try and get into some kind of a position to defend the site. And, well, Poria has got a lovely little set of util to try and deny this bomb plant. Molotov and HE can do so much work if it's given the opportunity, but eyeballers only just starting to work their way into the site. There goes the molly. That denies the plant. Bibu starts to strip away the numbers as JW is caught towards the truck. And, well, that molly has forced them to plant bankside. Aaron calling it out, screaming that it's got to be a bankside plant. So Golden has got to take this brawl, and it's left Pepsor completely alone. Nothing to do. The MP9s run and gun their way to victory. And it's a 3-0 start for PERA. They managed to upgrade onto 3 AK-47s as well. You really couldn't have gone any better if you're the CT side.
No, No, similar to how things played out early on Anubis, where they were taking those initial gun rounds with 3 or even 4 alive. It's kind of just a worst case scenario for eyeballers. At the very least, with a bomb plant, they can just about salvage a buy, but it is just about, if they want utility, we're going to likely see a Galil perhaps even pulled out on Golden. He would be the man who'd be willing to sacrifice down, in fairness. Yeah, the buy, there we go. Only now decided, so they're even a little bit late out of spawn, so I don't think we'll see anything too crazy based on the timings and such. Perhaps just the default wait and see if PERA expect maybe even an eco, although with the bomb plant down, they should know there's likely a rifle or 2 at the very least in play. So they are going to be being a little bit more cautious this time around. Early boost to try and catch the push in towards the B water if it was to come true. But for now, eyeballers, I think we're expecting this mid aggression.
And PERA were expecting a B pop, a really heavy-handed stack. 4 players down towards the lower site.
Posing ideas.
Nothing coming through, though. Bibu will start to make his rotation. And you can see, because of the complete lack of A-site presence, Aaron has had to spend the entire time playing site. No map control taken, so eyeballers have just shifted up. They've not taken any contact at any point, and as soon as they do, JW rips the head off of Aaron, and these rotates have got to get here yesterday if they're going to help Bibu out whatsoever. The spam through the smoke just doesn't connect, and now there's a huge question to ask of this CT side. A 3-on-5 retake into the upper site is essentially impossible. I don't know if they even want to give it a go. And to be honest, based on the way they're posturing, they absolutely do not. So PERA, well, they offer an idea, and eyeballers just thread the needle, find the perfect gap, take the site cleanly. A couple of individual mistakes. Maybe Aaron should have jump spotted. Maybe Bibu shouldn't have been spamming the edge of a smoke, but you're nitpicking at that point. It's just eyeballers perfectly threading the needle, finding the gap, and getting themselves on the board early.
Yeah, I think it was a few rounds more than this back on Anubis, where they, until they finally found themselves a round on the scoreboard. So it's definitely a good sign in that regard, especially with all 5 players still standing. They'll get all the utility behind their rifles this time around, and their buy will be pretty much perfect. On the other hand, PERA can get the drops through to ensure that they also have no real weaknesses in this investment. So eyeballers aren't quite out in the deep water yet. They can take this second round, only then will PERA really begin to feel the impact on the economy, and even then if they wanted, they could probably still pull out a couple of rifles, maybe even 3 of them alongside some pistols. So the pressure isn't going to ease up anytime soon. Early molly to stop that B-water aggression, that might give them a bit more success in taking the control this time around. As it seems like a slightly more standard default, but with a lot of focus towards connector. They've already got a player in B-water, so they won't need to join up there if they don't want to. Instead, they could focus on moving in towards mid, try and get that backroom control.
PERA want this play. Want to take water control. That boost up from Poria just not quite giving the visibility that he needed. Sapek will be forced out now with the Molotov coming in at his feet. A reposition comes through, but nobody really there to punish it. The boost is disassembled by that point, so the Molotov just tamely falls. Sapek able to get away for free. The Eagle punished, pushed out towards long, but he's able to find the shot. And the man advantage is there again for the CT side. That was a very speculatively peak from Pepsor, though, you've got to say. Just sort of swinging out long. No utility to really give him anything. Just sort of hoping, I guess, that the AWP's not there or that he misses the shot. But the Eagle takes it with open arms, and it is going to funnel eyeballers now with no map control anywhere else straight into this B site, which at the moment, again, is relatively sparsely occupied for PERA. They've gone for the 3 upper. Bibu, nestled in the water with Corey for company, is going to have to concede this initial push. 3 players out. The monster, JW from short with a smart pop flash in, has caught both of these CT players full blind in water. Poria has managed to rotate into a position. Deagle as well, swinging by on the AWP, leaves just JW. A 1v3 to try and knit together, but with just 10 seconds on the clock, that's surely impossible, and indeed it is. It's a little scrappy, a little messy around the edges again from both sides, you have to say, but it's PERA who are coming out on top more often than not.
Yeah, they just seem to be in slightly stronger form individually today, at least across the board. More of a team effort in that regard, it seems. Sapek is really struggling today. I think he was 0 and 8 before getting going back on the first map.
Not a fun day
right now as well. No, not at all. It happens. especially it's a couple maps back to back. It can be hard to kind of get your form back if it was missing in the first. Oh, this time they will actually get a bit of a spot from that boost. Unfortunately, no longer in his view. DGL takes a ton of damage. There, I believe, somewhat cautious at the very least of this boost. While he's quite deep as well, it didn't force him out, jumping with a little bit of damage being connected, and it's actually an initial kill to eventually come in from that mid-aggression out of Aaron. Swaps places in the smoke. I think it was heard there by JW, but apparently not, as he takes out Sapik before the trade finally comes through. The man advantage remains in favour of PERA, but Pepser's position could maybe throw a wrench in the works.
This time the walk up long has paid off. He has managed to get himself a little bit of control towards Truck on this upper site, calling JW across in support. Corey, how close does he expect his man to be? Oh, he's not looking the right way. Poria swings beautifully timed in conjunction with Corey. Two angles at once. Even if that first kill comes through from Pepsor, it's an immediate trade, no questions asked. And at this point, yeah, 2v4, both sites occupied. It should just be a question of trading down your kills. Bomb trying to be cheeky, and oh, there's a timing to play with here. Golden just wandering out Monster. Deagle does miss the shot. His teammate has gone down, and at the second time of asking, Deagle won't miss it. Perhaps one more kill than they really should have shipped away, with Bibu going down at the death there. But again, for PERA, it's smooth sailing. They're not that fussed about giving away an extra kill here or there. They're 5-1 up. It's going to be another half buy coming through from the Eyeballers. They don't manage to get that bomb plant down. It's just not looking pretty, and this is what I was talking about, right? The T side of Overpass is a tough place to be at the best of times.
Yeah, it's certainly not the best of times for Eyeballers. Pistols, Kevlar, and decent bit of utility. We should see something very quick being played here, I would imagine. The Deagle trying to get that initial kill, but it's Aaron who initially shut him down, but he stuck around to throw a nade. I'm sure he gets a little bit of damage on Golden, but it's not worthwhile. There's a weapon now that likely is to be recovered there on the steps as well. DGL doesn't want to stick around too aggressively. He's in a position where he might at least catch a player coming up connector or a peeking party, and then hopefully just escape and hang on to the man advantage.
There's a timer on it, though. A nice double peek puts him under a lot of pressure, so Corey has taken that con control back. Ooh. Nice spray down, finds Sapek, but here's the pop. Gun recovered on Pepsor. And all three now looking to put their pressure through the bathrooms. Golden, a smart shot into connector. Make it the double up! Golden flying, and it's put so much pressure back on PERA now. That is exactly what was missing from Anubis. A little bit of magic out of the Deagles. Suddenly, they find themselves a man to the good with a lot of room to work with. Poria doing what he can. A double spray down. Bice Heap the 1v1 up against Deagle, and it's his Deagle that sings. 3 headshots in the round. A huge clutch up, and exactly what the Eyeballers needed to get them back into this series.
Here we go. Some spectacular play from Golden. Obviously, Heap comes out with the 3 kills, but it was Golden, I think, who caught me a little bit more off guard with it. But he always was capable of rounds like that out of nowhere. He'd be fully focused on calling. Maybe he'd even be having a slightly rough game. Then all his teammates die, and he's left just to try and pull off something as an individual, and he's always being capable of stepping up. We do get a pause as well here, I believe, from PERA. Losing a round that they should not have lost at all. It puts their economy on edge. Sure, they can just about buy, but it doesn't leave them with much left over in the reserve. So they know if Eyeballers take this round, instead of the 6-1, maybe even 7-1 scoreline that was likely to be PERA's, instead it could be very quickly brought back to perhaps even 5-4 before the guns are available again. Even using a second pause. A lot of discussions being had. They've been pretty passive so far, though, on the CT side, so we might see something a little bit more aggressive. I think bar the pistol round where, of course, they pushed up long.
Yeah, and a little bit on the first bonus as well with the MP9s. But, I mean, I'll take that back. They have been keen towards connector. They've looked to boost up on short as well. I think there's a decent amount there. It's been more the A side aggression that's been lacking, and when they have gone for it, like in that last round, they got punished, and the Eagle connected its shot. So I don't know. We'll see what the adjustment looks to be.
There, though. That just seemed silly, especially after getting the initial kill to then take out the nade, not knowing if there was any other players who were there. It seemed a little bit maybe overconfident after
overzealous.
Overzealous, yeah. After taking the first map as well, maybe you're just thinking, yeah, we can't really do any wrong. Clearly, you still can.
Oh, they've learnt their lesson, or have they? Con play comes through. This has worked out for them before. Deagle and Aaron, they're going to go for the boost. Gives them a couple of angles to work with, but There's a lot of presence coming back their way. That Molotov's going to cause problems. And as they look to disassemble, Heap is there with the punish. Counter Molly is good and does a ton of work on the way through. But with Bibu tagged up in the opening exchanges, a man advantage found. Alarm bell starting to ring for PERA very early on in this one. JW smartly looks to rotate the AWP in towards Connector as well. Knows there's likely a punish to be taken. An overzealous peak. Corey does get the better of one, but there it is, just like the doctor ordered. Corey swings a little too keenly, a little too wide, and JW perfectly positioned for the punishment. Man advantage, eyeballers. Perfect opportunity. This was the scrappy round for PERA. This was the bodge it together buy. If this one goes south as Aaron gets caught jumping, Golden finds Poria. And surely the eco to follow. It's worth perhaps mentioning at this point that PERA tend to be quite CT-sided on the limited sample size of overpass that we've got. So as Bibu looks to make a little bit of a nuisance of himself and deals with Golden, they will start to have those thoughts in the back of their minds, PERA. But this one is not a done deal yet, and that third map is not their most comfortable place in the world. So despite the roaring success of Anubis, this series has still got some teeth to it.
Definitely. I mentioned early on, 5 rounds I think it'd be a good marker even for eyeballers, and at the moment it looks like they might just be on track for that. Even with this AK being saved, it's going to have to be an eco coming out from PERA. At the very least, it does seem like the rifle is going to be carried forward. Epsor didn't want to hunt any further. If he had have gone out towards long, might have found the contact, but whether it would have been worthwhile depends on whether he would have won the fight or not, and he's just not willing to take that risk right now. Here we go. Will they buy anything? Probably not. They only get 2,400, so it's a full eco pretty much if they want to buy in the next round. Give themselves a chance of trying to fight for the A4 half at that point, which I think is where they want to be considering the initial lead they had that's beginning to kind of slip away from them.
Absolutely. The question in this round really is, what can they do to enable Bibu? What can you get that AK doing? Where can you put it for maximum output? Early nade to blow up the connector as Bibu has shuffled across the various bits and pieces that they put together from the previous round. It looks like the call is to take short. USP's boosted up, trying to perhaps distract any crosshairs that do fancy wandering in. Nothing given, though. Eyeballers playing this one smart in the opening moments. A lovely passive default. Fully aware, of course, that this is the eco with just Bibu's saved rifle, so they are going to be searching for exactly this sort of pick, this sort of idea, and there it is, given up. JW picks off the AK-47 in towards short, and there's really nobody there to recover it either. One saving grace for this CT side is that there is a lone man wandering into a stacked B bomb site, so there's a bit of a recovery, and as they look to swing, hoping for something, but Golden says no. 3 quick kills, 2 clean headshots on the spray transfer as well. Very difficult to get right, but he absolutely nails it. Deagle left. Trying to be as cheeky as possible.
Fortunately, he doesn't have a weapon of his namesake. It is just a USB, which lands a dink as well. So if he had the deagle, perhaps there would have been a kill, maybe even 2 to go his way. They aren't able to get that damage in. Instead, 5-4 as expected off the back of that round. And the buy now coming through is... it's good, but it's not quite perfect. Sacrificing helmets in a few regards, which won't be an issue against the AKs, of course. But also nades aren't quite where they would want them to be. But as we mentioned, really, they need to be aiming for the A4 half at this point, get these final 3 rounds and give themselves a good lead going into that second half, because the D side is going to be a struggle with such limited experience here on overpass.
It's a tough buy to work with as well here. Very limited in the util, but the flash is perfect from Poria. Just what PERA would have wanted to start this round off. A gift of a double. Both players blind as you like. And Aaron now looking to be a bit cheeky. It's understandable on low HP. Will be put down and punished for it by Sapek. But the man advantage remains. Perfect opportunity now for PERA to start settling those nerves to find the conversion as, well, eyeballers are just grouped up. Going to get a bit of a push on towards Banana. Plenty of presence there, and it is just the 2-2 split at the moment, although Bibu, starting to smell a rat, has begun his rotation towards this upper site. Still plenty of time for the eyeballers to play with. So Util goes over the top. It really is the last of the nades they've got, so they've got to start pushing in, and they've got to do it sooner rather than later. Corey picks off one. Sapek goes down, and Bibu continues his reign of terror. Peps are able to get at least one, but it's very swiftly dealt with, so PERA back to their winning ways with the rifles in hand.
Yeah, they did build up a pretty decent economy, though, so they can keep the pressure on. Aiming, as we said, for one, maybe two more rounds. If they could manage the last two, that would be perfect. Golden's gone for a Mach 10, and considering he had money for an AK, that might imply something a little bit faster here, perhaps working with a solid spawn. We haven't seen anything quick towards B. That could definitely catch PERA off guard. Well, it looks like that is indeed going to be the case here. We've got all 5 players heading in this direction early on. Nades true. Bibu not even looking in the direction he needs to be looking, was playing the anti-flash, hoping his teammate could get the initial frag, and while he did, it's still going to be a struggle as the AK has managed to trade out into a man advantage with only Poria left standing. It feels like this round had only just begun, and it's already over in favour of the T side. Eyeballers getting a 5th notch on the board. It's going to be PERA left struggling here to try and fight for this final round. They do not have the money for rifles really on anyone apart from DGL, who gets the M4. Oh wait, they got a second M4. Was that dropped over from someone? Yeah, Aaron spent all of his money and took an MP9 in return, I think. Yeah.
MP9, no armor. That's going to be really tough to work with. He's gone for the Deagle, but that's a really lovely call by the eyeballers. Really, not seen anything of that kind of pace, and you could see how it threw the lines of PERA a little bit. Players expecting nades, playing anti-flash, nothing coming through. Punished in the worst possible way, just stripped of all of their firepower by a fast play into the lower site. And left scrapping to prevent a 6-all half, which would be a fantastic haul of T-side rounds on this map for this eyeballer squadron. Pepsor hoping to catch the timing here. He's got a man up close. Doesn't expect the rifle to his left, so Deagle will get an early opening. Rifle recovered. Man advantage found. You can feel it start to slip away here. Aaron playing the tree. Knows he's low HP. Waits for the flashbang. Just about gets the kill. No, he doesn't. Splits the damage. Deagle luckily in position to trade it. Plenty of work done onto JW, but again, with AWP in hand, that's not necessarily the worst thing in the world. It doesn't particularly matter, and now it becomes a question of setup for the CT side. At the moment, they want to take Bathroom's control back on A. 3 players up there, but it's left Corey alone in a lower site that is very swiftly going to be hit. 30 seconds, they've got to go now, and as the util starts to come in, how much can Corey do? Down the con, Bibu looking to catch a man off guard. At the very least, he's drawn heaps crosshairs away from this fight inside the site itself. He's bought his teammates a little bit of time. He'll go down to the HE though, and now with 20 seconds left, Corey does very well to deal with Sapek, trying to catch him on the transfer to this site. He's been legged up now by the AWP, but he's alive and kicking, and that buys time for Deagle, who again is legged up, not to be. It is the narrowest of leads for PERA as we head to the halftime break. Overpass hangs in the balance. A little bit of a handshake between these two rosters, both on their preferred side of things, both putting up acceptable halves. So perhaps opportunities missed for PERA, perhaps punishments not quite found for the eyeballers. As we get into the second half pistol, it is very much all to play for. T-side for PERA, traditionally where these rosters can struggle, and well, it's struggle already. JW flying up through the fountain, 2 quick headshots. Deagle and Poria removed from the server in an instant. And what even is the plan to recover this? The bomb is actually dropped out fountain here, which makes the situation all the more untenable. How does Corey even begin to imagine a world where he can get that bomb back? He has managed to scramble it away. The rotation's all over the shop from the CT side at the moment. They know they've got such a hefty man advantage. They just want to be brawling. They just want to get it done. Heap, though, dinked up. And a heavy-handed B rotation does open up a little bit of an avenue of opportunity for PERA.
Yeah, leaving for now Bibu in position to see if he can perhaps keep them over towards this B bomb site as they start to work their way up along with the bomb. Bibu needs to come away with, at the very least, a kill or two out of this, preferably the 2 if he can do so. I think they've already been spotted over and long as well, so those rotations are going to begin very, very soon. Either he needs to push through and see if he can get a bit of a flank going, or else he might actually have his teammates coming back towards him now and be okay. Yeah, back towards connector.
They're a little bit lost here, I think. The smoke's going to go out towards heaven, but Bibu has got to get a kill instantly. There it is. First headshot. Sapek immediately there with the trade. Just has to play the pillar, and he knows it. Just stay alive. Just by time. Corey doing what he can. Does find the trade, and a dink through the wall is nice, but 15 seconds on the clock. A 1v3 to contend with. Limited HP, and just no idea where to even start trying to find these kills. He's flashed off. Pepsor gets it. And a must-win CT pistol goes the way of the eyeballers. That momentum needed to start going their way early. This is their map pick. They wanted to show it, and JW does just that at the start of the pistol.
Yeah, I mean, it's exactly what eyeballers needed. It puts PERA in a lot of trouble, though. As we said, they do not play a ton of overpass. I don't know what their T-side is going to be like, and for now, they've got to go ahead and just take this full-on eco and allow eyeballers to tie up the scoreline. And we know eyeballers, it's the second half back on that on Anubis where they really came alive as well. Might be a similar affair here. That nade does tons of damage, and it's going to be an easy cleanup now. I'd imagine even a team kill coming in to give them some assistance. But Aaron at least gets a second kill. Not bad. They had, what, no investment? Did they have a P250 even? Not quite sure. Either way, the 2 kills is not a terrible result.
Not at all. You take that.
Remember when you used to lose, like, how much, like, $2,000 or something for a team kill back in the day?
Yeah.
It was a lot of money. You'd be screwed if you accidentally killed someone. Yeah. I was just remembering the pain back in those days. And then the full resets as well.
God, I love a full harsh reset. Not to be anymore, though. We like the players to have guns in hands, and that's exactly what we've got coming into this one. 5 AK-47s. Little bit of a bonus round for the CT side, but nothing too significant. 2 MP9s flanked out by M4s, and Poria getting it done on the AK-47. All 3 kills on the A aggression. Bibu isn't going to expect Sapek, but just takes the bullet, spits it out between his teeth, and says, "Thank you very much, I'll have that kill." Well, this round, I've been speaking about 4 seconds, and it has devolved completely. I'd love to see that double spray down from Poria again, because I feel like it's one of those ones where he's just held mouse 1, and 2 bullets have mystically found magnetic heads and just hit. Bibu's is one of those where it's an MP9 thing, isn't it? Sometimes you get the double headshot, sometimes you don't. You shrug your shoulders, and well, with Pepsor's position known, this should now just be about Poria being as much of a nuisance as possible, while the rest of his teammates, yeah, well, he's not much of a nuisance, but they hightail it down to the B site, get the plant, get the round, and yeah, save almost immediately called by Pepsor.
It helped, though. I mean, it goes to show you if Bibu hadn't have taken that fight, that win in towards Connector, maybe there was still some hope for eyeballers potentially to turn things around. But yeah, great work by Poria, as you said. I'm not sure how much he was truly in control of that spray over towards long. It's especially when that first player wide swings and then the one up close. It's always super difficult to deal with. You almost need a little bit of luck on your side. As you
they
do
were
all
so
the time,
quick as well. That's got to be like consecutive bullets. It's just one of those.
Just shake the mouse and hope.
Yeah, exactly.
That's me.
you feel a little bad for the eyeballers because the idea is really solid and they've come up with this play and it clearly should have worked as well, because they get the initial kill. They've got an isolated 2-on-1, and then it's just a little bit of AK nonsense gets them the double. And from there, again, maybe it's a little sloppy, because you have still got an MP9 pushing Fountain that should be trading you, and you have got an MP9 undetected in Con that should be getting a free kill, and those two swing the wrong way, which just compounds the misery of that one going against you, where 2, 3, 4 go wrong, 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 and they don't seem to be able to get themselves out of that vicious cycle sometimes. So one saved AK, Pepsor. We saw Bibu try and get something done. Very similar situation to this, got absolutely nothing. We'll have to see if Pepsor can be the man, the miracle. The rest of his teammates really have nothing to work with. There's a lonely 5-7 for Heap. Don't mind it in towards the connector, but the Molotov forcing his hand a little bit. He takes so much damage. He knows he can't go out Topcom because it's a horrible fight for a 5-7 to take, so he tries to go down instead and, well, takes a ton of damage for his trouble. Should be, yeah, a relatively easy cleanup, which it is. And this is where these pistols will start to have problems, when they can be chipped away at, knocked off one by one, can't group up, can't take a big double, triple swing rather, and really push the issue.
See exactly what the plan is. I don't like that Pepser's basically alone right now with this rifle. If it falls, it's not going to be recoverable. Does have a chance to catch the timing here on the Poria. No! What is going on? Poria has got to have some mad confidence right now. Even when players see him first and he's not looking at them, he still manages to get the kill somehow. As the wild left and right swings from JW there likely piss off the players coming in from long. It was the best he could do. He knew he wasn't getting a kill, so he may as well just frustrate them a little bit. Remind them that they're not hitting every shot.
Poria's just electric right now, but yeah.
I'll remind them, though. I mean, considering the USP there was swinging across that angle multiple times and they can kill him, if he has an op in that same position, it might make them think twice. Speaking of which, he does get his op out now. JW onto the AWP, everyone else on the rifles, and if they lose this, they're likely down 11-7 and they won't have many more chances at turning things around. So this is the round where eyeballers need to make it happen.
Spoke about it pre-game as well. The power of an AWP on a map like Overpass. Corey taking a huge swing solo. All the way into water with smokes to back him up. Sapek spotted, and oh, the long-term spray from Corey just waits for Sapek to come back into his bullets. Off the back of it, T-side looking to accelerate here. Pop flash in, trying to get their team into some kind of an angle, but it's just not happening. Pepsor naded twice, dealt with. JW is still on the upper site as the bomb looks to make its way in. Golden, he's got a little bit of support here from CT, and Heap does get one. Quick second from Golden, and this now is on. The bomb is desperately isolated, but Deagle is able to get his kill. He knows Heap's still here, still alive and kicking somewhere inside of this site. And as Corey looks for the support line, he goes down. This has got very sketchy out of absolutely nowhere now. Heap has managed to completely escape, and he's going to look to boost JW up. Oh, I love this. They'll never expect this angle from the AWPer. Up on the high ground, and oh, Poria, he doesn't clear it first time. Second he does, but the shot's good from JW. Boost up means both players are CT, and means Deagle absolutely knows it, so he should be able to nail this bomb down without any issue. But he's now got a 1v2, and he needs to hit a shot very swiftly to get himself into any kind of an afterplant. He knows it as well. He wants it. He sprays, but the connection's not quite there. JW does the honors. And what could have been a very ugly round again for the Eyeballers. A couple of early picks going against them, but they find the 3v5. They find their recovery, and they keep their hopes of taking this to a third map alive.
Yeah, he was doing his absolute best there to try and isolate either of those 1v1s, and he almost had it against JW up in heaven, but unfortunately the op's just a bit too difficult to deal with, and he wasn't giving him anything at all to work with. Once he spotted he had swung wide onto the bridge, knew that JW would likely have that op ready to catch him as soon as he moved out of position. With that, a 9-8 scoreline. PERA calling in their third pause. I believe they used 2 early on, so going ahead and using up that last one now to see what they can do about stopping eyeballers from finding their footing. Money is pretty solid. They shouldn't have any issues buying. I think they're just waiting a moment. They should have their rifles in full nades on both Poria and Bibu. I'm wondering if there's something weird maybe being considered. They have good spawns. Bibu does anyway, so he could be considering a Mac 10. Or if you want it to be really horrible, you could buy a P90 just one item. Never see anyone buy P90s and go play. When you do, it usually is on a map like this with a good spawn.
It's one of those ones because it's so much more expensive than a Mac 10 or an MP9, right?
Oh yeah, it's not worth it, but like
doesn't justify itself. Is the full AK buy though? DJ on the AWP. First time we've seen him pull it out on the T side. We spoke about that Battle of the Orcs. JW had a nice first round with his. 2 big, highly impactful kills to get the retake going in the 2-on-2. What's the call here for PERA? That's the question. How do they look to put this puzzle together? Heap playing the long bathrooms on a bit of a shadow angle. Has JW once again posted out towards long, but it does leave this gap. As small as it is, it does leave this gap towards short. And you can see Golden, he's aware of the possibility, but with only a FAMAS in play, it's not a great place to be. Deagle will clear out Connector, confirm that nothing is coming from that direction, and it puts a lot of responsibility on Heap's shoulders here. The timing of this flank could make or break this entire round. The run boost spotted, shot not hit. Deagle was hoping to be the miracle there, couldn't quite find it, and now you can see some questions are being asked. There's a double long bathroom setup between JW and Heap, and if they go that way, that is going to find so much purchase. A dink through the wall from Bibu, and PERA does one better. A dink connected onto Heap, and now they surely will look to accelerate towards this upper site. The flash a little too deep. JW looking to swing on wide, but he's got to worry about 2 angles at once. Gets one. Sapek on the backstab gets another huge kill and comes through for one more. So fast up Connector. The T side don't know where to look, and now they're isolated. 2 players out long, but they're caught from all possible sides. Golden low on HP, but he's playing the truck beautifully, just staying alive, just buying time. Finally he goes down, but it leaves Bibu 2-on-1, limited HP, no time. It's 9 on the board and everything's level on overpass.
Yeah, such a promising start as well, but Sapek just shuts them down, and well, he has really started to step things up, especially on the CT side. He found a bit of life as they had started to find their footing on the T side, and well, now is near the top of that scoreboard after a very poor first map as well. So this is good to see. They needed the individuals to start stepping up, and that's what we're getting. The economy, without that bomb plant going down for PERA, as we can see, is not quite there. But they've decided to force fully into this one, meaning if it goes south for them, eyeballers are going to be taking things likely to an 11-9 scoreline, even potentially. Even with a bomb plant, I don't think PERA could quite afford to buy in the following round. And it's going to be already 2 players in Connector just getting absolutely shut down. Smoke was naded away, easy vision for Heap, and despite a small bit of success elsewhere over towards short, it's still going to be very difficult to actually turn this round back in their favor.
This feels like a bit of a tilt buy for PERA. They know that they've had man advantages in the last 2 rounds, and both times they've been shut down by a big play from an individual, a big flank, a big moment. Clearly feeling like they've got them by the scruff of the neck here, but they just can't quite land that fatal blow to get it done. Opting for the force and getting punished for it almost immediately. 2 quick kills in towards the Connector. At this point, 3 rifles up, but JW, he's alive and kicking inside of the site. He's jump spotting, he gets the information, and now he should have an absolute field day. Picks off PERA, that's a freebie. Corey lined up, easy as you like, and Deagle, you just can't give JW those kind of opportunities, and that's exactly what they do. Finally, he misses a shot, but at this point, the cavalry have well and truly arrived, and Deagle's not got the bullets to deal with all of them. Double digits for the eyeballers. The force buy falls incredibly flat for PERA, and this one stinks of Ancient, don't you think?
Yeah, it really is looking like we're going to end up there. I had said 5 probably would have been enough on that T side for eyeballers, and well, they are indeed making it work. It's going to be full Glocks, most likely, I would imagine, kept into this round for PERA, and then they just need to ideally take 4 in a row if they want to end this 2-0. If not, as you said, Ancient is going to be in play. There was a technical pause I believe we were working with for a moment there. Thankfully, it was only for a moment. It seems like whatever it was is likely resolved. Some Deagles in play. I mean, maybe it's PERA's turn to pull off one of those miraculous Deagle rounds. We did see it from eyeballers on the first half. That was what turned things around. PERA would have this done right now if Golden and Heap didn't just pop off with those Deagles when they were down, I believe, 5-1.
You know, I think that's exactly the conversation PERA will be having amongst themselves. Just falling a little flat on this T side at the moment. They've been consistently finding those picks, finding those advantages, but just not finding the conversions at all. So they'll go to the Deagles. In the hope of a miracle, Pepsor says absolutely not and picks off the lone player lurking outside a monster. At this point, the CT side well placed to deal with just about any kind of offensive. Two-man B play, 3 up towards A, ready and waiting, knowing that having picked off Corey, there wasn't any kind of reswing, there wasn't any aggression to come back that direction. So likely, it is the upper site hit. And we'll put all of our guns there, thank you very much. Nice jump spot from Heap. He should have seen one man in towards Divider already. Aaron, nice shot onto JW. That's what we were talking about, those little moments where things can start to get out of hand. But Heap, well, he's looking to steady the ship. A quick kill onto the long player makes this one-dimensional, and Golden's HE continues to do work. Heap following up with the AK-47. Deagle, well, he's looking to match his name, but it is only the one. A couple of kills on the Deags before it is shut down by the Eyeballers. 11 to the good on their CT side, and if PERA are going to get this done in 2, it's got to get done now.
And no mistakes allowed at this point. Flawless play necessary, and well, I don't know if we're going to see that from them. As we had mentioned, they just don't have the experience here on overpass, and that seems to be really shining true on the T side. But also back on CT, once they found a bit of a fight back from Eyeballers, it really was a struggle. They weren't able to get any sort of form consistently across that CT side. Back and forth did not work out for them. JW pushed up, might catch that peek around the smoke. The time though not working in his favor. It's Corey nearly catching the boost as well. That's why he thought things were good. JW had some assistance, it just wasn't enough. Trades coming back now as Bibu pushes out from connector to give PERA some hope at the very least, with a 4-on-3.
It's a good man advantage. It's a solid position to find themselves in. Now they've got to convert. They've dealt with JW. They've dealt with that big AWP. They've traded efficiently. And right now, they've got a wide open A-bomb site. It's one of those rounds for Eyeballers where they've got to make a brave decision, and they've called the bluff. They've gone lower. And they know that if it doesn't hit the lower site, it's almost inevitably a save. And it's a save that will be respected by PERA as well, because they've not got the financials to really make it happen. So it's one of those weird rounds. You like the idea from Eyeballers. They go for the gamble stack. It doesn't pay off, and neither of these teams can really afford to be throwing guns at situations. So the 4Ts, they'll play this one very seriously, very clinically. They'll look to keep all 4 remaining rifles alive, because they've not got the money to lose anything in the hunt. And for Eyeballers, they wouldn't be able to reinvest into the AWP. They wouldn't be able to get an AK on Heap, that's for sure. So they'll be happy just to keep those 3 rifles in hand, and everyone will shake hands, say, good round, and we'll get on to the next.
Okay, but suddenly if this next round doesn't go the way of Eyeballers, you're tied up at 11-11, and I don't know if Eyeballers would quite have what they needed to get much of a buy, so they could even be left playing for an overtime. So, I mean, what looked like it was going to be a difficult time to turn around for PERA suddenly looks relatively hopeful. At the very least, it's plausible now.
Big round here.
Yeah.
Big round in the swing of things.
They've got everything on that CT side as well. No weaknesses. The op full utility across the board. Kits everywhere apart from JW. He wants to keep that little bit of money in case the op repurchase will be necessary. Same on the T side. Bar the fact that they don't seem to want an op at the moment. Fair enough. DGL probably happy enough on that AK. Couldn't quite buy it anyway after buying up the utility and such.
It's tough to get that T side alt leveraged. So I think taking the pragmatic decision, Corey, though, isn't having any of it. Spray through the smoke connects. Big headshot. Big man advantage to open things up as well. The kind of kill that is just nightmarish for a CT side. There is nothing you can do about that. And it puts you in this atrocious position, a 4v5. Heap solo on the upper site. And you can see PERA just waiting to see if there is going to be a response from these CTs. Just waiting to see if there is going to be a push, an over-aggression, someone looking to get something done to bring them back into it. Nothing forthcoming, though. So map control will be taken. Bomb's still all the way back in spawn, so by no means are we committed to either side of things just yet. And the direction which PERA choose to commit may well decide their fate in this round. Heap is solo on the upper site. It's a 3-man stack down towards lower. And the bomb on the back of Bibu is, for now, headed in that direction. Everyone lies in wait. 30 seconds on the clock. The bomb is going to wander out short here, and there is such a heavy-handed stack ready and waiting for this exact moment, this exact play to come through. Big swing. Golden gets one, and now they look to activate. Well, the bomb has bailed out of dodge with 15 seconds on the clock. PERA has to secure this site, and it has to be immediate. He can't let them deny this bomb going down. They're going to hightail it for all they're worth to this site, and they might just have time. No, they won't. It's done. Nothing to do. The CTs realise it. They disconnect. And now these Ts have got to try and hold on to their rifles because they get no money when the clock goes red, when there's no time left. They do so, but at what cost, Dean?
Yeah, I mean, now they're just left fighting for that overtime. Got held up, just looked a little bit too timid there as the commitment was necessary and just fell apart with those individual fights. I mean...
They didn't know, did they? They didn't know what site they wanted to hit. They still had a man lurking long. That late in the round in a 4v5 situation.
Heartbreaking way to let it slip away like that. I mean, they had a little bit more commitment, I would say, in them. A little bit more confidence. Tried to at least trade out. At least there would have been a fighting chance. Sure, they still could have lost out the fights, but it just seemed like they were in between, as you said, about what they wanted to do. Molly's deep in on mid. 2 rounds for an overtime. Very, very achievable in fairness, but Eyeballers right now I think are in a prime position to go ahead and close this out and send us towards Ancient. This is where they need to do it as well. If they lose this, then they're in trouble. It would likely be an overtime. Hyman there, nearly catching out the player jumping back across on that A-bomb site, but not quite. At the very least, though, taking a ton of map control still pretty early on in the round, so that is good.
Something that PERA haven't had very much of a lot of the time. Setting up towards short with almost the full complement. HE stack over towards wood, doesn't find anything. Again, a little tentative from PERA, this time without the man advantage as well. Just trying to set themselves up. It does look like a good call. It looks like a solid enough idea here. Lower site, understaffed. As the pop looks to come through. Pop the HE. Here comes the swing. Corey gets the opener, and now it is on Sapek. A big double spray down. He's bought the time. He's bought a huge opportunity here. JW Molotov pushes the plant into an awkward spot with 20 seconds left. Here it goes. Will get down through Deagle. Aaron is in the water, but with a heaven smoke fading, he's got to be very conscious of his timing and his angles. Huge HE comes in. JW and Golden eat it. Close flashbang doesn't clear Aaron. He gets his free kill. And now Heap and JW, financially, they're in a bit of a precarious spot here. If they want to give this one a go, they've got to go for it. Heap gets one. Immediate trade. And now PERA surely should have this one locked in. JW spots a retreating DGL, but he's not going to be able to do anything about it. The AWP will be saved across to the next, and PERA just 1 round away from an OT. That's what they needed to do last rounding.
Yeah. Oh, one more player at least being lost. It shouldn't affect them too much, but I mean, considering there's 3 players about 37, 3800, it will limit the amount of utility they're going to have to back these rifles. The main thing is PERA have taken themselves an 11th round, and as we had mentioned before, the economy would not be there for Eyeballers to get everything if they were to lose out on that one. Thankfully, with the weapon, the op being saved over, you do see a drop at least thrown through. Sapik had just about enough to get the rifle himself, and then a couple of weaker weapons here are going to be left over for Pepser and Golden. But this is their last chance to put a stop to this now, to stop it from going to an overtime where I think PERA might just be feeling good about things. Because now that they've gotten the economy going, that they've gotten the AK, as this T side has progressed, they've really found their footing, which again I'm surprised by, because I thought the T side was where they really would struggle, with only, what, 3 games over the past few months being played here on Overpass.
It's felt tetchy again. There's been moments for both sides they'd rather forget. Moments of magic from some that I'm sure they'll remember. As you said, though, this buy does not look pretty. Pepsol down to the 5-7. Deagle for Golden. Those 3 rifles have got to sing if Eyeballers are going to get it done in regulation. Corey are cutting a lonely figure. Makes his way out towards... This is brave. This is risky. JW doesn't quite land the shot. And Corey, well, he's started to really find a vein of form. Gets the opening pick for his team once again. Again, it's over towards B. This time it's the boosted player who goes down, but Heap is in with a response early. And Bibu, oh, the timing on that, JW. No scope connect. Eagle is there for the trade again, though, and this is one more of those very scrappy rounds where the individuals are just facing off. 1v1s all over the place, and it's another one for Deagle, but he can't quite rein it in. Heap looking to be the hero of the moment, but Aaron is there once again. It's just carnage. 1v1v1.
Yeah, this is mad. It's definitely good for keeping you on the edge of your seat, but...
yeah. It's keeping eyeballers on the edge of theirs, split between the two sides. Petzel with only a 5-7 in lower. Golden is in the right place to receive this hit. And Pepsor on the fast flank should be able to recover a rifle in con as well. This is well set up for the CT side, but they are split. So there is a timing to be played, and, well, PERA look to escape. Both out towards long, and now there's a question mark. Do they go for this long flank? Do they go all the way around where Pepsor currently resides in the bathrooms? Corey does. And at what point does he choose to shift? Too late. Pepsor's heard him. Pepsor sniffed a rat. He wants the kill, but it won't come through for him. Now it's Golden. Trying to scrap it out. He can't find the bomb. He doesn't realize it's the last round. Oh, it's all gone wrong. Molotov on site. It will be OT between these two. It will be at 12 apiece.
This is crazy. Of all the maps in the pool, this is not the one we would have expected an overtime on. Anubis might have been possible. Obviously, things didn't go quite eyeballers' way in the first half, so in the end, it was a 13-7, as you can see in that top corner. Overpass, though, we thought was going to be fairly straightforward, and that perhaps Ancient would be the closest of the three if we made it that far. But no, Overpass has gone all the way, and well, we're still going to need to see who exactly can take it across that finish line. Money no longer really an issue here for them as they go straight in on everything they want. DGL pulls out the op on the T side, which he hasn't done a ton of. He's going to find JW, of course, to oppose him. He's playing a lot better here on this second map than he was on Anubis, of course. Oh, the boost. Was it spotted? No.
Deagle's not spotted it at all. He's not even reacting to it.
Even with the shots.
Just didn't seem interested. Instead, he's going to try and work his way in towards short here. Knows how big a pick could be for his team, but he's put himself in a very precarious spot here. The barrel of that AWP should just poke around the corner and Heap. Oh my goodness, Heap. A ton of map control established, a fast flank to whichever side he chooses. The question is, which way does he go here? Is it B or is it A? Pepsor gets one onto Corey out on the lower site, and that will actually draw Heap up towards A instead. Aaron able to trade for one. And this is absolute carnage now. Heap has got the fastest of flanks if he wants it into this lower site. But the T side don't seem committed just yet to B either. They're thinking about doubling back. So right as Heap goes towards B, they're going to work their way up and instead look to occupy the A site. And Heap's flank is going to be an information play and nothing else. He knows they could be in towards short, so he's got to spend so long clearing all this out. And all the while, everyone on PERA is shifting their way up bathrooms. JW is so passive in towards truck. He's got nothing to do here. He's going to try and swing out bank, maybe just hope for a wall bang on the plant, but Bibu on low HP is starting to deal with his teammates. Aaron, you've got to get that bomb down, mate. You've got to trust your teammates to protect you, and they do. Heap, last up. He has been on the flank this whole damn round, and now he's got to try and put a 1v3 together. Aaron's super slow to react. The first kill is there. The trade should come through, but it doesn't. Heap jumping hits the headshot. Poria goes down 1v1. Deagle to save his teammates' blushes here. On the dice, the timing is everything, and oh my goodness, that was far too close, but it is PERA who get it over the line to start off OT1.
Jesus, I don't know how the hell he got away with that second kill. Reloading as he runs around the corner, jumps, does a little bit of a spin, and then still manages to get it. Poria, you're right. I don't know what happened there. He's been playing a great game as well. So it's
just one of those, isn't it?
He'd be kicking himself for that one, but thankfully DGL, or Deagle, whatever the hell we want to call him, was there to save the day. Molly in on mid, no one to follow it up. They've already fell back. I believe initially peeking even in towards connector and just falling back towards the planter on long. Show the initial presence, make eyeballers, make PERA at least question whether there's going to be players still pushed forward or not, so that they waste some time. They waste a bit of utility flashes and such, actually trying to come around these corners. They did actually put one player back in the long batch room, yeah.
It's the double long set up again. We've seen this before from eyeballers. Last time they tried it, it didn't really work. This time, though, they are going to be straight challenged on this long angle. Run boost to get a man across. No, flashbang instead, and Aaron deletes his man. Heap now inside of the bathrooms. He's been huge so far. Flashed out, but Deagle is there. 3 players just charging up long, able to swing and trade each other out. And they want to continue this aggression. The bomb at this point has been spotted, so there's a rotation up. Golden plays close to maps. He allows Sapek to work his way into the bomb site. And Pepsor is thinking about shifting up to join them as well. There is so many timings on board here. And again, the clock is starting to run a little low. This is where we've seen PERA perhaps start to struggle a little bit, is in these late rounds when they've got to make big decisions on the fly. Pepsor alone in the lower site. Bibu and Corey are trying to clear this out. They're trying to get information for their team. Deagle and Bibu combine, but now it's Sapek, and they've got to hit this upper site. They've not got the time to make another decision, and Sapek isn't sure whether to stick or twist. He wants it. 10 HP, 10 seconds left. They know they've got to get this bomb down, and the HE does it. 2 on the trot for PERA. Their T side finally clicking at the most important moment.
It's all come together here, and unfortunately for eyeballers, they've just kind of let things slip away towards the end of it. I'm not too sure exactly what happened. What, 11-8 at one point, or 9?
Somewhere around
the
there,
exact
yeah.
number, but either way, it seemed like they had things pretty much all but done after they turned it around so dramatically in the second half, only for PERA out of nowhere to find that D-side form. And they've continued on with it now here into the overtime as well. Worrying position for eyeballers for sure. They don't quite have everything to work with in this bye round either. As the aggression towards Connector gets caught. Heap goes down. They'd been spamming into that door for quite a while from the big bomb site itself, so I guess hoping maybe at least some damage had been done to give them an advantage in that fight. That wasn't how it played out. Instead, it's JW to at the very least equalize the numbers. Aaron just kind of wandering into his crosshair.
Dink for a dink makes this beneficial for the CT side. That initial exchange, Heap gets the headshot onto Bibu. He'll glass cannon himself. That's not glass cannon. What am I on about? He'll demand the AWP. There we go. This is such a brave call from eyeballers, though. Pepsor has only got a Deagle, and they've trusted him for now with full lower sight. Finally, they're going to make the rotation across. Poria is ready for the aggression, though, and he knows there's going to be an AWP somewhere around here. He's toying with JW. He's playing with his food. JW does get the kill, and now it is on that Deagle of Pepsor. He gets one. Buys space for the rifle of Sapek, and it's all on Bibu. 10 HP after that initial engage goes his way. Sapek's having none of it. It will be the advantage for PERA, but not as much as they would have hoped. 14-13 as they switch to the CT side.
It's still sort of up in the air at this point.
It's been so long since they played CT.
I mean, it started off well. Then their economy got the stride, and that's really when it somewhat spiraled. They did obviously find a little bit of success again towards the end once they managed to kind of stabilize in that regard. So it does, I would say, leave you kind of hopeful that now with the economy not being an issue, that they perhaps will no longer have those same issues here on the CT side. But we've got to wait and see. Eyeballers as well, they've got to have a lot more confidence than they did earlier when they kicked off this map. Looking towards middle, nothing being spotted as a player had already crossed into towards the playground. Aaron's actually going to stick around quite aggressive. This is risky with a player also coming back up through connector. Oh, the timing.
Heap should have a gift here. Aaron's not going to expect it. There it is. Clean man advantage. And a panicked rotation for the CT side of PERA as well. Poria and Deagle desperately trying to work their way towards the upper side. And look how eyeballers treat it. It's nothing. There's no aggression. There's no reaction. It's just a pick and fall off. Knowing that PERA will drop their U-turn, will panic or rotate, will spend time perhaps trying to get aggressive, perhaps trying to work out where the hit's going to be. And eyeballers, with a minute still on the clock, will just slowly, methodically work their way through.
slowed it down massively despite this man advantage. And we really haven't seen...
Look at the call.
Yeah, to bring it back over towards B. I was going to say we really haven't seen anything from PERA in terms of trying to gain information, which is going to leave them very exposed once this B hit does come true. Decent nade, though. Oh, actually, yeah, Sapik down to 44. I wasn't sure how much damage it was actually going to land. The problem is the numbers are continuing to diminish on the CT side. A second kill found for Heap. The Molly's coming in to light up this bomb site, literally. As there's really not a ton BBU can do right now. Forced back into the pick, gets himself the first kill. Has already called in for the assistance from his teammates, and somehow they're turning this around, making it a costly one as the bomb is just about going to be planted, but it's a 2-on-3. Perhaps a more manageable situation than it was looking to be before they pushed in towards that bomb site, but it's still going to be very difficult, especially with this flank of Heap to worry about.
They're looking for it. He knows it's coming and he gets it. 2-on-2. Golden, well posted. JW's timing is perfect, though. Deagle was aware of the possibility, just couldn't quite find the connection, and neither can PERA. You can see the frustration coming out. Finally gets his kill, but he's got no util. Has got the kit, but JW is so well placed to deal with this. Glock in hand, knows he's low HP, just waits, lets him tap it. Here's the swing, there's the kill. Lovely stuff. 14-all, we are back in the fight.
No one at all surviving in that round. That really is fitting to tie us up here. Whoever takes this gets themselves map point, and in PERA's case it could be serious point. A reminder, we are working here in the lower bracket, so the loser gets sent down to relegation, which is not where either of these teams would want to be. Both, I would say, with the aim initially coming into the season to maybe even get themselves up towards the Pro League. Especially eyeballers. They've always had high hopes, as you said, looking to try and nourish as much of that Swedish talent as they can.
What's the call? Deagle set up, doesn't need it. Poria.
Was it?
Yeah, it's got to be the boost. It's too clean to be a wallbang or anything else for that matter. Takes the head off the first. Fantastic position now for PERA. Question is Deagle's timing. Huge HE comes in on Bibu and Corey. Deagle has now got to make some decisions. In towards top con. They do expect him, but the first goes against. Now he starts to work his way back down. JW is posted, waiting for this exact peak, so he will find the trade. Man advantage still there, and that's a dink through 7 walls, so it doesn't really do any damage. Looks good, though. There's now Golden looking to catch a timing of his own, and oh, there's still a dink coming through from Aaron, but not quite enough. 3-on-3. Eyeballers playing the timings, playing the gaps, waiting for PERA to give them the options. And at the moment, this CT side is giving them that. Ibu and Corey will stack down lower, both tagged up by that initial flurry of HE through Monster Tunnel. As Eyeballers look to push on in. Here comes the util. Corey mollied out of his position of choice, takes a ton of damage for his trouble as well. Now here comes the swing. Corey gets one, needs to stay alive around this pillar, knows it, continues to try and work with Bibu in tandem as he finds his kill onto Sapek, and JW knows he's got no choice. No time on the clock, he'll have to retreat, he'll have to hold on to his AWP, and it will be PERA with the opportunity to put this one to bed in OT1.
The opportunity for sure, but I think we could just as likely see another overtime here. I feel like we're covering an old school game of CS on our way to 16. We don't get to do that anymore. PERA, they finally just about grind out that 15th round, but it wasn't super easy by any means either. A couple of close fights that perhaps if they went the other way, it would have been eyeballers instead on 15. So what exactly is the plan they're moving in here to try and put an end to this? Stop eyeballers from taking it any further.
If I was eyeballers, I'd be calling that rush B again. I'd be looking for it.
Okay. Well, I don't think it was the straight up rush, but they were definitely leaning in that direction. The problem is they just got pushed down in connector and have lost pretty much the entirety of the middle of the map, allowing for very quick rotations towards B where they wanted to go.
And here's the pop. Molotov a little laboured, doesn't really cut off the aggression. Secondary set of util comes through, and they're not full committing just yet. They're thinking about it. They want a pick first. JW Does get one onto Aaron, but Bibu is there with the response, and the double spray down from Poirier is everything. Pepsor is left. It's impossible. It's done. PERA, they wrestle control of the situation in overtime. They pull it back 16-14. They find themselves the clean 2-0, and they get their revenge as well. They get their own back, the 2-0 from Eyeballers at the start of this low group. This time it's PERA who come out on top with the clean 2-0 themselves.
Yeah, and an enjoyable game, I've got to say. I was very worried initially. We started off, 5-1 in that first map for PERA. It didn't look like we were going to get a ton from Eyeballers, especially as the map continued to progress, but they end up giving us a very exciting second map, rather. It is unfortunate, though, Eyeballers, as we had said, if they could have got it across the finish line here and taken it towards Ancient, that's where I think we, again, could have had another very enjoyable match. But either way, congratulations to PERA. They're going to move forward, where they will have the loser of the other matchup that's playing, of course, to take on. Let's see if that one's actually done.
I think it's
still ongoing. They've gone onto a third map, yeah. So it's 3-0 currently for space on that third map. So it definitely worth checking out as they have an Ancient going.
Spoilers. You've got to give them the spoiler warning. But yes, it is PERA who will keep on going. It's Eyeballers who unfortunately fall to the relegation. And you've got to say, sort of felt fair enough, right? I questioned the Anubis call for PERA. I questioned why they were going in that direction. They showed us exactly why. Dominant CT first half, punishing every mistake Eyeballers made. And you did see a lot of them from Eyeballers, right? A lot of missed shots, a lot of missed opportunities, a little bit of a blunt T-side. And as much as they came back into it, it felt like from the first half of the first map, that momentum was all against them, right? It was all PERA. They were everywhere. They were completely suffocating them out. And then the composure for PERA, especially towards the death of that second map, to pull themselves back into it, to stay in touch on a map that Eyeballers have so much more experience on and are so much more confident on, and just really find that vein of form again. I think it goes all the way back to the first half of map 1, right? They build that confidence, and then they can draw on it, and then they can look to it when they need to find that big moment, find the connection, find the critical rounds, and ultimately give themselves a shout at being at next season at ECL and hopefully having another stab at Pro League, because they looked very, very solid at Pro League, and they'll know they're capable of the kind of performances that can beat some of those tier 1 teams. So they get their job done. Eyeballers go down to the relegation, and you start to ask those questions about, developing the Swedish talent again, where they sit in the system. JW, does he still play? He had a really rough first half of Anubis, but definitely came back, definitely gave them some options. So plenty of food for thought. But of course, as you can see from the clock down the bottom, it is getting very, very late, gentlemen. So make sure you go swap ESL CS to ESL CSB. Go catch the System 5 versus Team Space game with Veerless. And I believe I'm going to make sure I get both the commentators' names right. It's Affinity and Veerless down on the B stream. I'll give them both a shout out. From myself and Dean, that is it from us tonight. Thank you very, very much, as always, for watching, and we'll see you again soon.